Hello, world. We're here to look at some hand histories with all the cards face up so we can learn a little bit about how the population plays poker. Now I'll hand it over to our hero today.
All right. So yeah, I'll share the screen and what we've been doing, which I kind of like, is allow everyone to sort of participate. Basically, we'll just see the tables and all the cards face up and just kind of go through a couple of orbits each. Whoever wants to participate, you don't have to, obviously, but we'll just take a couple of orbits and pass it along and let each person who wants to do it sort of verbalize what they would do with it, what they think the table should do, and talk about strategy there.
Sounds good to me.
So let's share. Should be seeing the screen now.
We are.
All
Yes,
right, very good.
hero has ace 8.
Yep. So this going in chronological order here on this particular session. So what should happen is tens should raise, king queen suited, and again this is 9 max, so these are earlier positions than 6 max. King queen suited is should 3-bet, I think, probably at full frequency even this early, and then it should get back to the tens, who I would imagine has some calling and probably mostly folding, but he goes with a large size.
Yeah, I'm not too sure of pre-flop ranges. I think in theory the king queen suit is supposed to 3-bet, right?
Yeah, and we'll take a look here once
The
we.
suited version, I think, yes.
Yeah, and I'm betting king queen off is a pure fold that
Yeah.
early. So this should be an easy one to get through, and then we can always go and check things out. We'll have this available to us. I think that was only 8 players at the
7,
start
I
of this
think.
hand. Yes, so
7.
just 8 players, and
7.
so yeah, obviously 7, only 7. Okay, so we'll start here with under the gun had the tens. Under the gun plus 2 had the tens, which is obviously a raise. And king queen suited, yeah, full frequency 3-bet. Of course, this is against 2.5. He made it 4, so that's going to change things. And I don't know if that makes king queen suited even more of a 3-bet or less of a 3-bet.
Yeah, I think it becomes almost cuspy.
Can be more.
So so we're supposed to 3-bet what? 5% of our range, right? So if he takes out, so you'd have to look at EV,
10.
but I would imagine that a certain segment of the pot of the hands kind of drop out.
Yeah, probably it's something like queens plus and ace queen plus and maybe king suited plus.
So what I read when I look at EV is that the 4 magic hands are still going to 4-bet, and you have to have a spattering of 3-bet. So then maybe king queen becomes a mixed 3-bet bluff or something.
Could be.
But I'm guessing he's
So,
going to call.
He
Which-
folds.
well, if he would have 3-bet, this player probably would have called. Yeah, I would, judging by his 4x open.
Yeah.
They're not going to fold 10-10. If they did 3-bet that king queen, let's just see at these amounts, bet sizes. So I'm guessing it's going to be mostly fold. Yeah, it is mostly fold.
Yeah.
Even jacks mostly fold.
Yeah, it's interesting. And also, and that
Yeah,
what's
that
also interesting is that down at the bottom, if you have this low frequency RFIs with the low pairs and low suited connectors, they call pure.
Yep.
I guess
Yeah,
they're just
if you raised
unblocking
them.
bluffs.
Yeah.
And there might be an argument for against population, like especially maybe the fishier side of the population, to not, call these more, because you're really just set mining, and
Depends if
Gonna
they
get-
bet enough, otherwise you can just fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean these are better hands, right? In the rank than sixes and fives, so it just seems natural that you call these more than you would four, five, or six. So okay, cool. So he gets it through.
All right, King Jack should raise. Gets back to 10-10 in the small blind, which oh, this is hero too, so we're gonna find out what hero thinks. Um, I know this hand. This is good. You guys are gonna love this or hate it. I don't know what happened here. Don't know if it was terrible, if it was okay, but when it got to me here versus an early position raise like this, I'm just gonna flat these tens. Probably can three bet it sometimes, but and I did look this one up when I was reviewing this hand history, but I wound up just flatting. Which brings in the big blind with a 5-7 suited, which I don't know, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think actually if the button were to flat, I think the big blind does call this, goes in the action.
Yeah, either way, it's
Um,
just small EV, either minus EV or plus EV. It's just small.
And a quick look here, we get this raise, we get down to the small blind with the tens, and yeah, it actually is mostly flat, which I was happy about that, because I kind of tend to three bet a lot from the small blind, but I've been learning, especially in 9 max, those early position raises, you do tend to play a little bit more cautiously.
Yeah, there's more flatting here than I
So
thought.
Yeah, I don't have a flatting race, but I play 6 max, so
yeah, that's what I had been learning, that those flatting ranges in the small blind to early position raises is pretty is a
probably
thing.
also depends on the rake. If the rake is higher, you have less flatting.
Yeah.
Look at queens. Look at queens, which I would never, before looking at these, I had never flat queens there. And 7-5 was in range, by the way.
One thought
Okay,
as we're going through today is that the thought is that recreational players don't have really positional awareness. So that their RFI ranges are pretty static from UTG through button. Pretty much the same percentages, so maybe we can watch that, see if it's true today, see if we see any
Yeah.
really wide ranges from early position.
You could see that in your database, probably.
Yeah, sure.
See the RFI percentages from each pot. So
Bingo.
yeah, big endorphin hit right here.
Yeah.
ooh,
Um,
no 6.
well, since I know what happened, I remember this hand pretty vividly. Why don't I
Diamonds.
pass this one off to you guys? What are you guys doing here?
I mean, yeah, so I'm checking it.
Yeah,
This-
top set I check for sure.
You check in pretty much whole range though, right? I mean, that's you check top set, you're going to check everything, right?
I can't imagine a situation where I'm going to lead here.
If I have 4s, I might bet.
Okay, half pot, maybe a
Yeah.
little bigger than half pot, maybe.
What is he doing?
Yeah, this is a weird, I think you can do either here, because this is such a dry texture.
It's not that dry. Yeah, for the under gun racer, yes, it's not connecting with him.
So, when you have a dry texture like this, I think you can slow play or you can raise. I would imagine Yost is going to raise here, which is fine. I think, if we were to put this in solver, you have like probably, well, we could say you've got 76% equity. So, I think that either is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had the exact
call.
same train of thought. I thought this was just, I just basically had this basically locked up, that
Yeah, you
there
block
just
the
wasn't
way,
a,
so that's the reason I would
yeah,
call more than raise.
and that's what I did. I did call.
Yeah, that's what I would
Okay.
choose.
And the gut shot with the back door comes along versus 2 bets, which I think is a mistake. I would not call here.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I probably give up gut shot here.
You have 4 outs.
The only reason to continue is if you think that someone's gonna overvalue their aces or their kings.
4
And
outs.
there's implied odds, and I think that if this was heads up, they continue, but I think this is probably a fold, multi-way.
Hmm.
Boom.
God mode.
Yeah.
They knew.
These
But
are
so, what are you doing now that you flatted with your top set?
check.
So I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to read gut shots coming in sometimes. I don't know if you guys find it hard. But I mean, this is,
7-9, and there's 2 gut shots even coming in. 7-9
yeah,
and 5-7.
I'd like to improve on that myself, but I'm gonna check and flow multi-way, especially when there's 2 callers.
Yeah, I hope that guy has an overpair and he bets again.
So it went check, check to the original razor, and he checks.
Pair the board. All right, now it's like, what sizing are you guys using here?
What is the sizing that can get called here still? It's not likely that the king jack guy has something. You can have a 10, v10, king 10 or something like that, or jack 10. Not likely he has jacks or something like that, or an overpair. Otherwise you would have bet a turn. So that's one of the problems you have here. So I won't bet very big here.
Yeah, so you've got 2 ostensibly cap ranges.
Yeah.
Um, we don't know, we're getting traps sprung upon us, so
At max I would bet pot or something like that.
yeah, I P75 here, multi-way.
Yeah.
But the
And I
question is,
chose to check. I was thinking that under the gun can still have all the overpairs.
Why wouldn't he bet?
Versus 2 players that called as an initial. I don't know. I was just thinking that, like, if that were me, I think I would be checking overpairs as well.
I mean-
At least to some frequency. You know, probably not all the time, but I definitely would be. I think.
if you were to run this heads up, you might have some checking here because you're blocking all the continues, right? You're blocking all the top pairs. So I think if we were looking at this heads up, in theory, you might have some double checks. Especially against
and
his range, which doesn't include 9-7 and 5-7-5.
Yeah.
Now, if this were blind versus blind, it'd probably be different.
But so I did choose the check route, which again, that's probably the mistake. We get half pot ish.
Oh no. We chose the BSTI.
You raise.
Yeah, you guys didn't choose the check line, so you probably weren't like considering what would you do. And I was gonna check raise anything basically.
Yeah,
So
I
I check
yeah,
raised.
I'd always check raise this. Now that this is the
This
tough
line I would
decision.
check raise indeed, and then fold to a raise.
So this is a tell for me, right here.
It is hell.
Can we all agree this is a sizing tell?
Yeah, but so here's where I'll try to make the justification.
Can you do this with 8s or 4s or something like that? That's the
Bingo.
question.
8s, 4s, 6s, deuces. Does he continue with
deuces
deuces
is
on the
good.
flop? I don't know, but 8s, 4s.
And 2 pair, 10-8 or something like that, but that's only one combo.
Yeah. I thought he was going to have more combos of those sets and 2 pairs than he would have of, and I didn't even see 5-7. I was thinking 7-9. Does he really just have the one, the one?
3-5 is coming in now.
Yeah, 3-5.
If you think you have
I
deuces,
did
you can
not
have
consider that
3-5.
one.
Yeah, so the pot odds he's giving are so compelling.
Yeah, there are 8.
He's trying to get you to call with like an ace 10 or a queen 10. The pot odds are so compelling, you can't get away from it.
Yeah. Well, I just shoved it, the rest of it in and lost, of course.
Oh, that's I wouldn't do that.
That's the
Well,
mistake. That's the biggest mistake.
I
You
think
can
that you are
call, but
beating value. I can understand why you did this. Why you made that shot. I mean, you are beating tons of value, right? And, so I can understand this play. The only question I have, we can go back and look at his raise size.
This one right here.
Yeah, this is it. So this raise size, which isn't a shove, and is what? It's essentially a click back, right? Call it a click back.
Hmm.
Is there a sizing tell here? And do we as a group see this sizing tell with nutted hands?
I see it way more with nutted hands than non-nutted hands.
So I just joined the session, and it seems like a pretty crazy hand that I just walked into. But
Thank you.
from what I've caught, yeah, this is very heavily weighted towards like top 3% aces and kings. It's basically what I see that sizing with, specifically aces and kings.
Yeah, well, obviously, he shouldn't have aces or kings because of he's in the big blind. But yeah, you didn't get to see the whole. Yeah,
Okay, my mistake.
no worries. But
Yeah, it's just a quick recap for you, King. We had this under the gun raise, pocket tens in the small blind, flatted, and so did the big blind. We get to here. We go check,
Okay.
check. We get the C bet. We talked about considering the raise now or just calling. They
Okay.
didn't just call. The gut shot called. And then we got to hear the turn. We go check, check, check through. And then we talked about now betting the top set here, or Hero decided to check, got this bet, and then Hero raised, and then got 3-bet.
Oh my god, okay. I'm so sorry. I had a Zoom window covering up the flop. I thought we were still pre-flop. There was a window covering up all of this, so my mistake.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So so I think I've made the same play. It's easy to make because we're beating so much value. But one thing I'm gonna try to think about in the future in these spots is, okay, what's 5-7? What's big blind's range? Right? And what's available to him? And
And also the previous streets, on the turn he could raise with 4s and 8s. I mean, it's nothing.
yeah, I mean, true. That's a good
Or even
point.
on the
A lot
flop,
of people
he
are
could
going
raise.
to, a lot of people are going to fast play
Yeah,
sets. You're right.
that's something to consider also on it.
So maybe the two things to consider here are what combos are available to big blind that he's going to flat, and what are his slow plays?
Yeah, and at the time, again, I think I confessed I did not see 5-7. I saw 7-9, and I was like, well, he could have more sets than he does combos of 7-9 suited. I didn't consider 7-9
Yeah,
off,
but you should discount sets a bit. I mean, because he
yeah,
can,
because he didn't raise, or he didn't
raise on the
bet.
flop and he didn't bet on the turn. So
It's just kind of
Yeah.
hard for him to show up with either of them, in my opinion.
4s and 8s or what?
Any of those straight combos as he played it.
7, yeah, 5-7, yes.
Well, he's got the second nuts, and it's a rainbow board. So there's no flush available.
Yeah, I mean, my point was, I think it's completely reasonable to call it.
Yeah, I would call here probably because
Yeah.
the price is so good that you can have
I
8s and 4s indeed also. And
Yeah, and also the other part is that he slow played 3 straights, right? He checked river, right?
Yeah,
No,
that's
river he bet. River he
bets.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
leads.
the
Oh,
action
we
as
checked
played.
it.
I would be very surprised to have him turn over the straight there.
Yeah, I think here, I would make your play sometimes. But I think
Yeah, you should
the
go
tells
all in.
that I'm trying to talk about are the sizing tell, right? He didn't shove. He wants a call. When his hand clearly he's announcing is really, really good because he just re-raised your check raise. Right? And also his position, which is gonna contain straights.
Would he do that with fours, actually? I might just call.
I
Something-
would,
Yeah.
well, I think in theory, he should fast play
In
This
theory, probably, yeah.
fours and eights and the sixes. He should fast play.
Yeah, you shouldn't have sixes. Huh? I mean, should fold on the flop.
Funny thing was, after I jammed, he tanked, like he did not snap call. So.
He's like, he has
that was kinda
9-7.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if he would do this with fours, if he even raises you. Also
So shitty start for Hero.
Instructive hand though, we appreciate it.
something.
Yeah. Queen's raise and that should take it. Oh, wait, we got a limp. Okay. Oh no, he raised. Okay, he did raise. Sorry.
Ace five
Um,
off isn't supposed to defend there.
No,
Do any-
No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
definitely not.
not even against the button, I think. Or-
I think the cutoff is like ace-7. Something like that.
Certainly not against low jack. We can confirm just to show you where
Yeah, I
the
think it's-
big blind
yeah,
threshold
I'm-
is all the way up at ace
Ace
10.
10.
Yeah.
Wow, okay,
Button.
cool.
Button might have some 3-bets with ace 5.
Yeah,
For sure,
yeah.
for sure.
Okay, it's half. It's half and half.
Yeah, but ace four is
Half and
even
half.
folding a lot. I mean, and ace six and ace three and ace two, so not every ace is calling.
So we'd have the queen's raise and take it. 8-9 under the gun here. Solver's going to have a little percentage of raises there. I personally do not. I'll wait
Yeah,
till
what
I get
it's
to low
like.
jack.
And 6-5 suited can.
Yeah, all the suited connectors can. They're small percentages. Ace king will raise, and everybody should fold. We'll see at what.
Five
Well,
can.
6-5.
6-5 suited
Can
should surely
3-bet?
VPip here, shouldn't they? Oh, I'm sorry, you're supposed to be near it. My mistake. Don't listen to me.
That's okay. Yeah. 6-5 probably has, again, and I always
Small
make this
percentage,
exercise
probably.
about what the solver does, right? And then we deviate from there if we want to. 6-5 is probably going to have some 3-bets and maybe some calls, but it's
Yeah,
going to
it's a
mostly
mix.
fold.
Yeah, but he's only 23 big blinds deep, and he opened 3 big blinds, so I think you should fold here.
Yep, absolutely. With that broken stack, it's going to be just a pure fold.
Okay, that
Yeah,
may,
that's
yeah.
a good point. Broken stack
Absolutely.
just fold.
And king 10 should fold as well. We'll
Yep.
see what happens. Yeah, they do. But so let's look at low jack raise and a button frequency. If it was full stacks, 6-5 is mostly fold with let's turn
Yeah,
off
this is
EV, so
2.5x, huh? Yes. Yeah.
But this is 100 effective.
Yeah.
yeah,
Looking
this
at
is
here.
this is full stacks. Yeah.
Okay,
Full stack and
still have
2.5 big blinds raise.
okay,
But you'll
understood.
notice on the button here, look at even all the way up to 10-9 suited, Jack 10 suited is folding at some frequency.
Seems crazy to me, but point taken.
Ace king in the hijack will raise. Queen 9 is going to have some 3-bets. 6-5 would get out of the way. I guarantee you Queen 9 will not 3-bet. And if he doesn't, if he folds, we saw what 6-5 does against low jack. It's not going to be too much different. So I'm guessing he's just going to take it. Oh, we got a limp though with 3-2 suited. So that's gonna
From the broken
from the
stack.
broken stack. Yeah.
6-5 is calling and with a limp in there.
We've got chaos.
All right.
What do you guys think of the
Right.
RFI size? So I wonder if he made this RFI size to keep in the fish.
Yeah, but if you
The
make
short
it
stack.
4 or 5, most fish call.
Yeah, I think he made only 3 big blinds to keep it. I think he made it's
Yeah,
small. to
I
keep
don't
it.
mind the smaller sizing because of the broken stack and also the fact that it's only one limper. I used to go 5 big blinds there, but I learned in one of these sessions when it's just one limper, you can largely treat your sizings as if that limper doesn't exist. In this case, it would be a 3 big blind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
for me.
That is one theory about it. Can we go back to pre and just after a 6-5 call? Let's look at what equities are. 6-5 comes in. And then 3-2 flats calls. So what are equities now? So I think the argument for going
Less than
bigger, king,
50%.
is the equities, right?
The
So-
argument for going what, sorry?
The argument for going bigger with your ISO here are we can see it in the equities, right?
Okay, yep.
So we invited in the 6-5 with our smaller sizing.
Yep.
And look how much equity he has in his hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's
So the
Yeah.
argument I think for making this bigger is that you are much more likely to win the pot, especially when you're not guaranteed position here. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
would go 4.5 to 5 here, even though he's a broken
yeah. And another reason is
Okay.
you want to isolate the fish.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
if I were in that position, I do the same thing to broken stacks. My normal open size is 2.5. If there is and if there's limpers, let's say one limper, my ISO size is 4.5. Now, if this limper is a broken stack like we see here, I will drop it down to 4.
Yep.
Because stack to pot ratios are going to be, in effect here. So I do reduce that 4.5.
Yeah, that's largely the strat that I'm using, largely the approach that I take as well, more or less.
Not that I would have noticed this at the time, but if this player, this ace king player here, he's the one who went 4x on the pocket tens. So it's
Okay.
if you guys remember that. So he's using some different sizes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's using some
So it's
creative poker calculus, but he got it slop, so worked out.
Well, so the ace king, typically
make
you can
calls.
probably check here in the middle.
you can.
But when you're playing multi-ways is what I'm learning. And I can't wait till we get into this multi-way March Madness that we're going to do. But I'm seeing that continuation betting multi-way is just highly dependent on flop and ranges. I mean, like even more so, like this would probably be a c-bet because this flop is just crushing your opening rate, the razor.
Yeah, you're right. If you were at, let's say you were out of position and this is a 3-bet pot.
And
Yeah.
but there's just a shit ton of checking too. So, but in this particular hand, I think I would continuation bet.
I like his sizing for a multi-way pot.
Oh, there's a great call by the 6-5 backdoor hearts, backdoor straight.
Hey, he's got some interesting runners.
Oh, that's bad.
so-
The 5
yeah,
big
he's,
one.
This guy's super
Yeah,
exploitative. He's really sizing tough.
yeah. That should be a very polar bet, regardless of your hand at this point.
Yep.
And the 6-5 improved, and he folded.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting to see. So let's keep an eye on the guy in P7. Because he's hyper exploitative in his sizing.
Yeah, so we're looking all this should be a walk.
Could be a walk, yeah.
Started here. Oh, but we get the limp. We have a mark.
You have a fish, clear fish.
He gets to the flop. I mean, not
X.
much to really talk about
Yeah.
here.
As a fish.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I mean, when I see that
I'd-
in game and I'm sitting here in the big with 6-4 offsuit, I'm raising that limp. I'm going 4 or 5 big blinds and usually just taking it down pre or c-betting flop and winning it there, regardless of my combo.
He gets called with ace high.
It has
Okay.
high.
I would argue 6-4 is just a little bit on the weak side to do that, but I mean, it certainly can't be.
I
terrible.
agree, but I think this player's a little bit on the weak side to be playing poker, period. So I'm going to be attacking that with anything that I have.
And I would generally also not do it against the broken stacks. So if you make it what, 5 or 4, you said?
Yeah,
God, I would hate to get shoved on. I mean, it's easy to fold 6-4, but
yeah.
that just happens. So seems like it happens so often with these shorter broken stacks.
Do you mind if I ask what stakes you're playing? I'm playing like really low stakes where I can get away with all kinds of nonsense like that.
This is 50 NL that we're watching.
Okay, it's
I-
slightly higher than what I play, but I hear you.
Still on Ignition, there are a lot of fish. And if you see something like that, then yes, you can make adjustments, big adjustments still.
So this is interesting. So I think the fives should fold because they don't have the implied odds, right?
Mhm.
Now you might get the
Yep.
implied odds if someone flats behind, but I think when this guy so if this guy limps, it becomes interesting. I think for me, it'd be very hard for me to resist the urge to limp behind with the fives.
Yeah, me
Let's see
too.
what happens here.
Just hope that they don't ISO range.
We know 9 should raise. 5s at that point. I mean, I would fold 5s there. And
Oh, you can even ISO in with 5s.
Let's see what our fish does.
yeah, maybe.
Like the broken stack
And-
makes a big, big, big difference there, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, implied
Mhm.
odds are you don't have implied odds for your set. But I would overlimp with the fives and see what develops behind, because I don't mind I don't mind set mining multi-way.
Yeah, me.
I would do it in later position. I just think it's too early to realize equity. But
Okay, so you would fold there.
I would fold there. Yeah, even to the limp.
Yeah, I almost fold that if there was no limp.
So can I
Yeah.
throw out my
yeah, me
theory
too,
and,
Gus.
I'm
and
V-pipping.
you guys can punch holes in it so I can learn something? So my theory with the fives here is that, okay, this guy limps, I overlimp, right? Now, if there's a 3-bet and a 4-bet or whatever, I can get away. But if I get to see if someone ISOs to 4 or 5, and then even though he's a broken stack, the UTG comes along, I feel like I'm getting implied odds to set mine. But I could be making a mistake, and I could be overvaluing the 13% of the time where I hit a set.
I mean, I'm gonna be in that hand for sure. I'm happy to set mine in that spot. Myself.
I don't mind limping behind if you think the players behind are not too aggressive.
Yeah,
So on this stakes, yes, you can do that.
Like I'm definitely feeling like a major nit if I'm folding these fives against this EP limp. I definitely want a V-pip, even if it's just a limp.
I mean, it just
Yeah,
comes
set
down
mine.
to, I think, two things. Implied odds, how often you're gonna be thrown off your equity by aggressive pre-flop betting after.
If I have a
and-
hand to ISO, I would make it 6 or 7. Huh?
And then the final piece would
Mhm.
be, do I think this pool overvalues aces?
Mhm, mhm.
And position, I guess, is more important too, right? I guess these fives are more valuable on the button than they are where this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
At least in position against everyone else.
And so I used to be on board with all of that until I got really into studying, obviously this is GTO, right? So all players are assumed to be the perfect players.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
can probably get a little more value out of your fives here than against population than you are going to get against really studied players. But once I did I mean, you're just seeing all these from early position all the way to cutoff. Well, I think hijack maybe is where fives
Low
start kind
jack
of
is
coming in
also folding some
at full
fives.
frequency. But like under the gun here, they're just going to have 10% frequencies, right? Really small frequencies
Of flatting?
of
Yeah.
no raising,
opening.
playing, V-pipping
Okay,
at this
yeah,
point.
they're very tight, yeah.
And so hijack oh wait, low jack folded. I need to fold here. So hijack, so cutoff is where you start seeing fives at a frequency, right? When somebody does raise, and we're not talking limping here, we're just talking a raise, flatting those pairs of course, is a much different situation than somebody limping. But you have this short stack limper. Even a button is going to have. It's going to fold it a lot. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised to see it folded that much.
I'm not
But
surprised.
because he's short stack, and you're way out of position, I think fives is just best not played there.
I
No, it
agree.
does make
understand that.
sense. I know what
I
you're
can
saying.
totally
for
get it.
sure.
Yeah.
Against reasonable players, I agree.
I get
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
I think in theory it's a well, it's tough to know what theory is here, but in theory you're totally right.
But interesting, they do fold, and you're going to start to see. Yeah, there's start to see some
Yeah, with ISO
people
that
picking up on this player. No, this might be where he jams. No, he just flats. Which I would hate if I had Jack 8 there.
Why?
Ugh. And,
You're in position.
and no, if he jammed and I'm sitting there
if
with,
you
oh
have to
god,
just fold.
yeah, it's like your
I
odds
was-
are going to be.
I was thinking he might shove this. He's got really right place to well,
The worst
I
flop
wouldn't
ever.
shove if I knew I was gonna flop a set, even though I'm on the board.
So he checks to the razor, of course. Jack 8's just got really nothing going on.
Yeah.
He
That's a good shot.
continues. Yeah.
Don't forget.
see how he
continues to
doesn't-
fold.
I don't see how he doesn't bet that flop. I mean, like, I know he's got nothing going on here, but it's kind of just as hard for the limper to have anything going on, and he's going to take
Why?
it down with
You
the
just
simple
have,
C bet.
has to have the heart, the 9, the queen. Jack 10 is 10-8. There are so many good shots, etc., etc.
It's a very it's interesting
Very
board. It's not his board.
huh?
It's kind of a disciplined check back, but I can see your point.
Yeah,
would
I mean,
probably
like,
bet,
I'm gonna
but-
throw it a C bet, and if I get a call, I'm just largely kind of playing face up and shutting down at that point with my effectively zero equity hand. But I'm gonna take it down often enough.
I
in my
would
opinion.
indeed probably c-bet this that one, but just because he's full of shit, he limped with 3 2s suited, so he can fold.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Did the
And
table
just,
see?
you just bet small.
But saying this board was very connected, so it's not.
I
Okay,
think,
that's
yeah,
fair.
I think you're right, King. I think that if I ISO here, I'm gonna stab at this. I'm gonna put in a bet.
You even have a good shot. I mean, yeah.
And also I think people overfold on monotone boards.
100%. That's largely why. Like, that's a big reason behind my C bet. They're just
Yeah.
like, it looks really scary, but you know what? It's quite more often than not just as scary to your opponent as it is to you. And whoever takes the more aggressive line in that spot usually takes down the pot.
And also you're in position, right? So if you bet, he calls. I would check turn on, see if I realize equity and hit my magic card.
Yep. For sure.
Hit my 10.
Yep.
That's the way I
I
Absolutely.
would
would
play
see
this.
bet any flop actually against in that situation.
So, yeah, so I guess it goes around to ace queen, right?
So, yep. So ace queen should raise and take it.
Oh, you get a call from 8-4.
Yeah, there you
There you
go.
go.
You did.
Have to know your players, huh? Oh, double gut shot.
Nice check raise for the big blind.
Let's see if he finds it.
So this would be.
He won't.
well,
He won't
again,
find it.
You don't do it, indeed.
So versus a full stack here, this flop would be. It's gonna check a lot, and it's also gonna bet in a sort of a polarized fashion. I think.
Yeah,
100 I agree.
This
Bets.
hand is a pure check, probably.
Yeah,
But
so this flop
this
is tough.
hand will be a lot of checking, and there's these ace queen, ace jack, ace king type are gonna check a lot, and
Although you have 2 colors off the board, so that's a pre for betting. But
I might bet like 20-25% here. And when I bet large, slightly larger.
So I think, is this a polarizing board or is this a small bet board because it's straight available? I'm not sure.
I think you want to
Yeah,
probably
that's
polarize.
gonna drive it down. Yeah, it will drive that down.
I do
But I
like
think you
checking.
can still
Like,
go 75.
yeah, I like that.
And we'll take a
I
look
like-
at it. We'll look, because
Yeah,
I do like to look at these spots and confirm our thoughts. He did check. And what do you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a problem if you just call. Oh,
Yeah, it sucks.
Uh-oh. Alright, so timeout. What do you guys, what size, do you like his sizing?
I don't
The
like
ace queen?
6.
I don't.
No, the check raise sizing.
yes.
All in? Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Oh, that's just all in. I forgot he's a broke stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Never
only
mind.
sizing.
It's
I'm
6.
gonna have a hard time
is,
folding here.
Full pot or something like that.
So why don't I'll set up,
Station.
I'll set up the solve and that'll allow you to continue and we'll maximize time. Cause we wanna
I would-
look and
I
see
would
what our
have a hard
sizing
time.
should be on this flop, right? If this was in theory.
Yeah, and we can do it here.
Okay, whatever you want, that's fine.
Hijack raised. Big blind called. And it was
10, 7, 6. Rainbow.
10, 7, 6. Rainbow. Whoops. 10, 7, 6. I might have got the suits wrong.
Doesn't
The
matter.
big blind's gonna. There's a considerable amount of leading.
So that tells us
10
we
high
should have a
boards.
very high check frequency.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
This is not so common on 10 high boards.
I'm surprised at this too.
Yeah, it's 7, 6 also. I mean, that's
Uh-huh.
Can we look at range versus range and see if there's a significant nut advantage to the out of position player? Yeah, look at that nut advantage.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
gonna
a
have
very
all the
interesting
8-9
thing,
suited.
equity graph.
over the total range. The range are comparable, strong. And then
Which is why I think the low
that's
frequency
better
C-bet sizing larger makes a lot of sense there. Sorry, what is the frequency for a C-bet?
For the C-bet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there now.
40% almost for the big
Oh,
one.
wow, okay. I'm surprised it's that high. Okay. I was thinking 20, 25.
So,
Interesting.
so yeah, so I
Oh, that's a lot
think
smaller
the
betting.
I think the fact that it's straight available drives down sizing, right?
Oh yeah,
The-
he
the
has
what, sorry?
mid advanced big blind, yeah, and that drives down sizing.
Do you
I
think the
see.
fact that it's a what drives down sizing? I missed
Sorry,
that.
there's a straight available.
Okay, okay,
And also
sure.
we,
Yeah, it's
one
straight
indicator that
the
we're gonna
big
drive
blind
down
has
sizing
all.
as well. One indicator that we're gonna drive down sizing as well is the fact that we had donks, right? So big blind has donks.
Okay,
That means in theory, big blind has nut advantage. So that's gonna drive down sizing.
sure. Sure.
Mike, real quick, would you change like the 6 of hearts to a 2 of hearts? And we'll see if, how that affects sizing. Thank you, sir.
Can you go back to the big blind first? Because I think he checks now a lot more.
It's more polar.
Yeah, he's not gonna have donks now.
Yeah, almost none.
And so, yeah, you could see how like our, you can see how we have big sizings now. Where we didn't have any big sizings before.
Yeah,
We're-
this is what I was expecting to see. And you're right,
Yeah.
that having the straight, or as, what's the term I've heard on this call a lot, a locked up equity.
Yeah,
It's
locked up
not
equity.
straight. There's also 2 pair, 7, 6 suited and 10, 7 suited and 10, 6 suited that the big blind can have.
Yeah, it's a high check board though. The other thing that's
Mhm,
interesting
and-
to me is I would think we check mostly with, our ace king. Because that has the highest,
I
that's
would
our
think
best
so.
non-paired card, but it's kind of reversed. We're still betting that.
He's checking more than ace queen.
Maybe ace jack is a lot about blocking jack 10.
Could be. But ace jack is betting less than ace king. Eh?
Okay, cool. That was informative.
Would you guys fold the ace queen on the river?
What size did he use?
He check raised.
Oh, he
up, didn't he?
check shoved?
Yeah, check shoved. And it
I
didn't-
was,
I hope I would.
I really didn't like the way that, like, I didn't like the sizing here. I didn't like it as played. So it's kind of hard for me to imagine myself
So
in
the
that
question
spot.
becomes, I mean, so let's go through the questions. Are we beating any value or is this a pure bluff catcher?
Bluff catcher.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
total bluff capture.
In
Does
real life,
population and especially a fish
Yeah.
ever bluff here? Is this
Very
underbluffed or overbluffed?
It's very underbluffed, of course.
Okay, I think I think you can find a disciplined fold.
Yeah, absolutely.
you can even have a lot of two pair also.
I wouldn't have tossed out that 6 big blinds, but
I don't mind the 6
You're right, I
blind.
wouldn't either.
I like a blocker bet. 10% pot.
You're in position, you don't have to block bet. You can check
Did I
down.
miss a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was out of position there. My mistake. Yeah,
Alright,
no,
that's-
I like the 6 big blind bet even less in that case. So yeah, no, I
Could
hate
you
that
check
bet.
back there?
100%.
Why? You
Um,
didn't check raise, so you can have a 10, you can have an 8, or a 7.
I would, to answer that properly, I'd kind of like to go through the action again, but I don't really want to drag this out too long or stall
Okay.
too much. We can get into the weeds of it if you want to, but I'm just kind of being, it's kind of my nitty tendencies coming to surface, I guess. Just, I don't know. I don't like, and I don't like that line at all as played. Like, I just would have taken such a different approach all the way through.
Okay.
So. Don't need to rehash every step of it, every node.
So I just put a note, a file in chat. This is Affleck's questions kind of boiled down for me when facing a tough decision.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
sort of goes back to my rule of thumb, don't be a hero. I mean, 9 out of 10 times, just fold.
Yeah, rivers are underbluffed in most situations at least. There are some
Yep.
situations there's overbluffed, but
Like when your alarm bells are going, when it just makes no sense and when it's like, okay, clearly there's something up here for sure. Look them up. But
So I think 2 is, are we incentivized to bluff catch? I think that comes down to, do we have any blocks to the nuts? Here's an interesting one.
So that was a full orbit. If somebody want to take the next orbit?
Okay,
I can.
oh, you go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead, King. I'll go next.
Okay, it looks like, okay, so button's gonna open, small blind 3 bets, button fold, small blind takes it from the 3 bet. That's kind of surprising.
All right, we got our first deviation.
Small blind still 3 bets and cutoff folds.
Whoa, oh, it's our fish.
I mean, I never, ever flat here. I'm always 3 betting. So I already hate this, but. Okay, so he
Yeah,
flats, so he's gonna be
once we get way
checking.
off the reservation, we don't have to spend as much time on a hand that.
Sure. As played though, he checks, and I mean, who knows what ace 4 is gonna do? I guess he c bets because. Yeah.
Well,
Queens.
yeah,
I mean, queens can just call here. I kind of like a raise to deny equity. But we're kind of in no man's land here, so whatever, calling is fine. I prefer raising. He's gonna check again to in position. Should barrel, but he's a weak player, so he's gonna check and now just toss out like 100% pot and he folds 50% pot. Ace 4 folds, yeah,
sorry about the copy.
pretty predictable.
Yeah, once we
Goofy
get off
hand.
the reservation in some weird, we can just kind of probably,
Spots that none of us would ever find ourselves in.
yeah.
Sure.
All right, next hand.
But the one nice thing to do with that, it is nice to see how they play it because they're the ones we're playing
Yeah.
against. So that's nice
That
to know.
is
So you're
true.
not so surprised. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
true.
Welcome,
That's the
Scott.
one thing that we have gotten out of this a lot is to
Yeah.
reveal, just what they're doing with these hands.
So let's talk about what we've seen from Fish so far. Very wide range. He's a luck box. Trapping too much.
Playing passive.
Playing passively.
Limp in value.
Living value. Heavy trap. Heavy
Limp
traps.
calling.
So it's only been in orbit, but here's the numbers that we're picking up.
You put 86.
Yeah. This looks like walk city to me, this hand here, but who knows?
And
Jack
with-
7 might limp in the small.
King 3 is almost open.
And one of the things about their play like that, they feel good because they do something clever and they surprise you all the time. And what happens is they just don't get enough value from their good hands. That's what the Fish thing is they cost themselves money that they could have made, but they get to play cleverly, and that's fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of people, it's all about fooling someone.
Sure. They don't make money in the long run though.
No, it's not the best way to make money.
King 3 suited, that's supposed to be a fold here, right?
Yeah,
King 5 plus opens.
it's close.
I think King
King
3 is the bottom of the opening range in the cutoff.
Okay.
I think we'll look.
Cause I'm kind of on like King 4, King 5 suited myself. I was expecting a walk in this one, but
Yeah, King 3, I
King,
think
queen,
sneaks in
5.
there.
King 3, Queen 5, Jack 7.
okay.
And in the hijack, King 4 has a quarter.
Okay,
King high.
fair enough. I'm still expecting him to fold.
He did open.
Oh.
Oh, no. he
No,
didn't.
okay,
Sorry.
yeah.
Jack 7 small blind.
Fold.
No, he's folding for sure. I knew that was gonna be a walk. But cut up hijack, low jack, Jack 8 suited might be a little early to open. He might RFI. King 9 might RFI. I don't know. I think it kind of folds to a cutoff. King 9 opens. Okay, we got the open. I think it's not the worst. I think it's reasonable.
And I think it's a couple pips wide, I think.
Yeah.
Sure,
But maybe he
Mine's
has a
just-
read on his table. He hasn't seen many 3-bets.
sure. I think it gets folds around after this RFI too.
It's more than a pip to white.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably Jack 9 plus there myself. Depends on the table. Okay, we got a flat from the King 9. Fold.
Yeah, that's a problem. Now you're out of position.
He should check. But he bets here. Okay.
I wonder if he's reading off the 86% VPEP he sees.
You never know. Okay, yeah, heads up. Gut shot could call there this deep, I would think.
You have the king of diamonds also.
Yeah, okay. I don't mind it.
Double gut shot and a flush draw.
He should be barreling with this combo with this line that he took, I would think. I think he should barrel slightly larger sizing. 7, 8, 10. Yeah, that makes sense to float after he checks. Or I guess stab. Yeah, he just folds Jack 8. I mean, kind of a goofy hand, but usually
That bet looks small to me.
It's a flush board, so you bet smaller normally. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ace
Hey,
King,
Josh, how you doing?
RFI.
Hey,
Ace 10 should fold. Cut off hijack. So King Jack from the small blind shouldn't have any wide 3-bets versus this Ace King open. Not from that early of a position, should there?
no.
No, I don't think it does either.
Yeah, folds around is what I would be happy to see. Yeah, perfect.
Let's take a look at the small blinds range here versus an early. That's low jack plus Warren. Let's take a look at our small blind.
I'm sure there is some kind of wonky three betting going on there. I'm just kind of curious what portion of the range it's coming from.
Your suiteds and then your ace-x suiteds with some of this.
Okay.
If you want to be balanced.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Cut off
Kings.
hijack. King 10 should open. Kings is going to 3-bet. King 10 will fold. It's gonna go down pre.
So yeah, but I bet we can see something right here. Yep, there it is.
That's our guy.
That's
our
our
guy.
guy.
Yeah, so King 10, I mean, I see
You
this
could
limper
ISO in.
behind. That's something I want to VPEP. So I'm gonna be going 3, 4, 5, probably about 4.5 big blinds, 4 big blinds here.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah, I think
surprised
this is
didn't.
really cuspy.
Sure, I agree.
Um,
Against this player that we know is getting way out of line, playing all sorts of goofy nonsense that impacted my decision to VPEP.
I'm surprised that I did not, and I'm wondering if there's a reason other than
The other ones
if
are.
I'm looking at 3-bet percentages behind me, and there really isn't like a bunch of aggressiveness behind me. So in fact, it's all kind of tight. So I'm a little surprised.
maybe you're looking at limp fold. So you've got a
You're
limp
in the
fold
hijack.
stat,
Huh?
right? So this guy's already been ISO'd a couple times and he called.
I mean, I'll miss some of those cuspy pips if I have a bunch of tables going on and, you know, sort of multing a bunch of tables and kind of cut out
Yeah.
the more borderline stuff. But
Let's see.
And there's a rule, not a rule, but a guideline that we've learned on these calls a lot. You take your position and maybe add, Scotty knows this really well, add to your position. So we're sitting here in the hijack, right?
Mhm.
Hijack, and move yourself to 1 or 2 positions and take that range and ISO that range, which King 10 would be a fold for me there, but
Mhm.
versus a really, this guy, I am surprised I didn't ISO.
okay, sure. So King sizing, I think, is a little bit big here. Having position on this weak player. I think I like 4 or 5, but probably 4 having position.
I
of
think he
upper
reads
range.
good, that he calls too much.
Okay.
Yeah, good exploitative size up, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Assuming
okay.
that's what he's doing.
Yeah, his limp fold is 0, right? So he's been ISO'd a couple times and he hasn't folded.
Okay. I missed that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Blue.
this checks range. King is going to c-bet 3rd-ish. Seems pretty standard. Slightly larger, maybe. Yeah, slightly larger. Well, it's almost
Just
half,
half.
but
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
using the Jeremiah Williams
Yeah, I think that I
project.
would do make a smaller bet indeed.
okay. I think okay, Jack or Queen Jack off. Should RFI flat
I
from
wonder
a
if we limp
button.
the suited, he's gonna limp, he might limp his
And
suited
fine, yes.
combos. No,
Oh,
Wouldn't have been surprised, but yeah, this will be RFI. 3 should call. 3-bet from ace king.
fold for 3s.
Should he not
Yeah,
call?
I would fold.
It's
Call
There'll
and
be
3-bet?
a small frequency of calling in the solver.
very small frequency of calling indeed.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm
if they
mixing
don't
calling and
3-bet enough,
3-betting.
then you can call indeed. Huh? I would call probably because they don't 3-bet enough.
Okay. Yeah, ace king 3-bets, jack queen folds, of course.
Yep. And let's take a
I would
look.
have VPEP those
Hijack.
3s though. Against certain players, I'll 3-bet. Against most others, I'll call set mining. Deep enough to set mine position. I don't mind it.
That's the solver ranges.
Sure. Oh, Jack's open, gets the walk. Maybe 10-8 suited opens. I doubt it. Yeah. I would have opened 10-8. But
and hijack.
yeah, it's kind of borderline, kind of cuspy, but I can get away with that on this table.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
I'm happy with
Yeah,
it.
you can open your range against a lot, but here's hijack's range. It will be out of range, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think you can definitely start expanding and based on your players for sure.
Sure.
Poker coaching has it.
Sure.
Full frequency from the hijack,
Mixed.
mixed.
Ace 6 RFI. Queen Jack can actually go any way here, depending on the player. Some will be flatting. Nittier players will fold, but I think it's actually a really good candidate to 3-bet. I'm kind of curious how it plays here because sort of all are valid.
I agree. I think you're right.
And then these combos from the blinds, depending on what Queen Jack does, okay, they're gonna probably fold. Maybe our fish in the big blind wants to see a flop with the suited ace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this guy wants to see a flop too, of course.
No, this is an interesting hand.
And here is your, let's say,
Did the offsuit Broadway just flat the 3-bet?
no,
Yeah.
he threw, oh, the offsuit Broadway.
The button?
That was our Queen Jack guy, right?
Yeah, the
Uh,
button
the-
3-bet.
The big blind flatted behind a 3-bet.
So
Yeah.
when open, call, 3-bet, call.
No, open 3-bet call.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Okay,
So
sorry.
Josh, just to give you a little history here. So the ace-7 of hearts is a fish. He started with 25 big blinds. He's been limping a lot. Playing a very wide range. His VPIP's like 80. So he's the mark, but he's been a luck box so far.
But you were right, King. You notice that Queen Jack here
Yeah.
does have your 3-bets going on there.
Okay.
Pretty much all of your unsuited Broadways down to
There's no calling with that Queen Jack, right?
nope, 0.
Okay. Yeah. that
So
makes sense.
one
Makes sense.
situation, if we look at this, one situation to think about here. So our Queen Jack is a good 3-bet, no question. It's a good 3-bet bluff.
Yeah.
But now we've got 2 callers, including a flat behind. I don't know if I'm willing to continue the ruse here. What do you
Oh
guys
no,
think?
I'm right there with you, man. It's just like, yeah, that's largely a combo that's designed to take it down pre. And when you get like, okay, you're gonna take it down on the flop in a lot of heads up pots, but when you get 2 of these callers, especially 2 of these goofy wonky calls, like
You're now up
Uh,
against 2 ranges, right? Which are capped because no one 4-bet, but you can assume they've got some kind of good hand. I
Yeah,
would
you have
actually put,
Pairs
I
and
would not
suited
put
hands,
ace-7 suited here.
What?
I would put this guy in a lot of pairs and suited connectors, but
yeah, you have backdoor diamonds and like overcards that have horrible reverse implied odds. So I'm kind of right there with you, where I sort of was just trying to make my play pre. Didn't
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
work, and I'm
I
just
think it's a
sorta
really good 3-bet
taking a
bluff,
step
but
back.
but when you get, so this happens to me often on global. When you get into this situation, you're kind of like, shit.
Yeah.
But part of me always wants to say, well, I've got the overpair advantage, right? I've got aces, kings and queens here. And no one else has aces, kings and queens.
Mhm.
And I
However,
think that
everybody
might
has
be
all
an
the
error
sets.
in,
But they have the set, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
and also
straights.
any ace X is not gonna fold to the
Any
initial
pair
bet.
is not gonna fold.
Yeah, and also look at the sizing. You're gonna have to use this really large sizing, and then you get even one call. You have this ridiculously inflated pot, and you've sort of just blown up the pot for no reason, and then you're sitting on there on the turn, sort of having to wave the white flag, having gifted away dozens of big blinds for no reason.
Yeah, so maybe the way to ask this, is there anybody in the group that would continue with the C bet here?
Not against 2 players.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm,
okay, yeah, we
no.
just shut down, I think, here.
I mean, so the short answer is I see myself betting this. On the flop, trim out?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would probably bet it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's an argument that you've got the aces and the kings and the queens and no one else has them.
Well, I just find that low boards miss everybody, middle boards hit people. So I'm more likely to bet a 5-4-2. I realize there's a Broadway draw here. I mean, a wheel draw, but I think that a small bet here frequently works.
Okay.
I
Even
think
multi-
it does.
I do recognize, but whenever you get that third player, I mean, it's not just the third player, it's twice the number of players. It's a lot more players and it's harder to get folds. But I think I mean, and I do think that you're going to get calls from aces sometimes, but I still think it's worth betting.
Okay, what size would you use just to finish the conversation?
Well, we're at 24 blinds. You know, I would probably bet no more than a quarter, maybe a third.
I
mean,
think
it's
you're
a
right.
high
It will.
payoff
Oh,
bluff, but and it's obviously I've got overs too.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but I mean I don't know what GTO is, but I take stabs at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking. I mean, that's part of the value of these sessions is to understand how other people play these spots.
And just to be clear, I mean again, I play mostly live,
okay.
Yeah.
so I have
No,
all the bad exploitative habits that people have.
No, dude, I think a c-bet takes that down like a lot. I used to make that a lot more often. But as I kind of started playing against more, or like, you know, slowly moving up to whatever stakes I'm playing now, I found more and more, I'll be running into more competent players in those sorts of spots. And I just found like making those multi-way c-bets, I was torching ton of big blinds for no reason, where it's like, yeah, you'll take it down sometimes, but you're going to be inflating the pot more often than not, and then you're going to be finding yourself on this turn where you're just raising a white, waving a white flag, and having given away a whole bunch of big blinds for. No
Yeah, I
real
mean, so just to
reason.
be clear, I agree with you. I think that doing it less makes sense. It's just so I don't know the answer, but I will say I do it sometimes. I think this is a pretty reasonable one. I would definitely do this more if it was rainbow.
Yeah, but if you
Sure.
bet quarter pot, it only has to win 20% of the time.
Well, that's the beauty of it is, I mean, when it
I
works.
mean, it's not bad, I think, to bet because you have, for instance, the Queen of Diamonds. So you have some backdoor equity, you have blockers to calls. But I wouldn't do it. But it's not that bad.
I think there's validity to the c-bet. I'm just imagining like turns, putting myself in uncomfortable positions on turns.
You have to
I don't
give
know.
up on
Well,
the turn.
and that frankly is the beauty of this one. So the only uncomfortable turn I get is the Jack of Diamonds, because obviously, you know, the flush came in, but I've improved, and so I'm gonna have a hard time folding that. But like anything else that comes in, if someone bets it, I'm gone.
Yeah, but luckily you're in position, so the chance that someone bets is very small.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think that it's really the beauty of this is it's a high payoff bluff. I mean, you call it a semi bluff because the overs are draws, but it's a high payoff bluff and easy to play. Like I don't get stuck. I don't get like, why did I bet it? Now what? You know, that you have when pots get bloated. In this case, the pot, if it gets bloated and people put money in the pot, you leave because you're not playing a big pot here.
And like to your point, I think you're going to want to bet aces here. You're going to want to bet kings. And I do keep that in the back of my mind. And that is where I find the percentage of c-bets that I do have on this board coming from. Yeah, I am going to be betting these. I am going to want to bet these over pairs.
Yeah, but
I would take the position of I would be betting.
I mean, noting that the big blind, you mentioned the big blinds of fish and plays a lot. He's probably not folding his low pairs, but I do think that the cutoff, I mean, when you raise him to 8, you know, they might fold 3s and 2s if they're good players. I wouldn't think it's a terrible thing to do because they're not getting enough payoff on those.
Yeah, but that means that
Opposition
better
is
hands.
low pair, and they can't make a huge amount because of the stack sizes. It's probably, I mean, I'm folding if I open 4s pre-flop from the cutoff 3s. I'm folding those to the bet, to the raise.
Yeah, but against 2 players, I might call because then I set mine.
So I've had this
Closing
debate
the
with
action. I think
someone.
you're going to get a lot of calls.
Yeah, I'm just saying some of it. I'm just saying that my point is that they don't always have all the sets.
That's
So your big blind probably does.
But
So
even
Here's where I would be
also
on this
call
in this particular situation is I would be betting value and I would be betting high equity bluffs. But
Yeah.
I think Queen Jack falls into more of a, I don't think it's bad to try to, you know, continue. I don't think you need to. I think you're over bluffing at that point. I think you can take your ace of diamonds, ace 4 of diamonds obviously is a really good one, but ace of diamonds X, your ace X, maybe king X with diamond. but I think queen jack might be a little bit too wide. But it
Yeah,
certainly isn't, I don't think it's
I
terrible.
don't know where you are.
Can you
So-
almost make the argument that you would bet here in the back seat with a hand that could withstand a check raise?
That kind of makes sense to me, actually. I like that. I was just gonna ask, like, what do you do here with aces without the ace of diamonds? And what do you do with ace king without a diamond?
Yeah.
I think ace king's gonna be largely checking, and I think aces is gonna be largely betting.
Yeah, obviously this is not anywhere near what theory would do or what we can look at in theory, but it's very interesting to talk about it because we all get these situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get into that simple three-way
Yeah.
Do you
when we
see
get
bet?
there.
Do you see bet with aces there, Mike?
Yeah, I think I would. I would.
All day long,
Do you check with
Yeah.
ace king with no diamond?
probably.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Okay.
think my high aces, my big aces, ace king, ace queen, ace jack, I'd probably certainly without a diamond.
okay, sure. I'm with you.
And again,
Okay.
I don't know, I don't know what's correct. And that's why I can't wait till we start getting into some of this solvers with multi-way, because these are always really questionable.
Well, that's also the thing, though. There's a lot of validity to a lot of different lines in these sort of multi-way weird spots.
Yes,
Yeah,
also know the player pool and don't do. Yeah, I think with the queen of diamonds, at least you have some blocker. But yeah.
sure.
So
Okay,
did they
so
check around?
how did this
Yep.
go on flop? I've lost track of the action by now.
Check,
Check through.
check.
Just check. Okay, and it was RFI 3-bet call. Okay, so it's gonna go check. Ace 6 should probably fire a bet at this point since it's checked all the way through, but he just checks. Okay, I mean queen jack should bet at this point since it's checked all the way through, but I wouldn't be surprised if he checks. Well, that's gonna take it down. Surely.
When he makes this bet, what is he repping?
Nonsense. I mean, like nonsense.
But I'm not saying it's a bad bet. I'm just trying to understand.
No, and that's the
So
sort of bet.
he's essentially saying he's playing he's got ace two suited, is what he's saying. That,
That's
or
the
he's got
sort of bet where
fives,
I'm
but
saying you
those-
should be a hero. That's where you do want to deviate from the don't be a hero. This is clearly nonsense.
Well, I don't understand the sizing. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna bet it, why do you need to bet 20?
Exactly. That's my point.
If you were going to turn your queen jack into a bluff here, guys, what size would you use?
Yeah, but suppose you check ace on the flop. What size are you using on the turn with aces?
I'm not
75%.
using 20.
Yeah,
Not quite that
so,
big. 13.
so it says
I don't
half.
go very small. I mean,
I think half
13.69.
pot, I think half pot is more
yeah.
Yeah.
appropriate. I mean, maybe I'm off,
60%.
maybe this is a great sizing. I don't know.
I think yeah.
This is like, we're way in the wild here, right?
I don't see how that's a great sizing.
Maybe
Yeah,
because it's
it's not
multi-way,
bad
it
to
wants to
begin with.
drive the bet size down a little bit, but when it goes check, check on a, like if your head's up, button versus a blind, you raise button, blinds call, it goes check, check. And
Mhm.
check again on the turn, you're gonna use typically a 75 to 125% bet. Is kind of a heuristic that
This
you
is where I
see.
jump in and say,
Yeah, your hands that have a nut value wants to bet big then. Indeed.
so this is where I jump in and say three ways bet sizing goes down a lot.
Yep.
And the other question I have is what are you targeting with a 20, which is what a 80% bet that you couldn't target with a 40% bet?
Yeah, exactly.
The only answer I would have ostensibly is
Diamond draws.
sevens through tens,
Yeah, but
Right.
also diamond draws.
there's six through
Yeah.
tens.
7-6 diamonds, but like
Yeah, I mean, so again, my experience is people frequently call it draws, even when it's unprofitable, and so you just are bloating the pot.
mhm,
Yeah, I think people are inelastic withdrawals, right?
okay.
So. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, people can be quite inelastic withdrawals to the nuts.
So you charge draws if they call.
But it's just like, what value does he ever make that bet with? That he and like, what is he targeting to get calls? It just
Yeah,
makes
it's
no
not a very,
sense.
it's not a very convincing story.
Exactly.
I'm
I
not
would go
targeting
small,
diamond draws, I'm
I mean,
targeting trash.
I also find
Sure.
it a bit too large, but
Sure. Okay. Okay.
All right, that's a full orbit. Anybody else want to jump in?
I can do a couple for a second. I'm at the doctor's office, so I'm gonna have to cut out on this, but I'll do a couple for a sec.
All right, take it away, Sutton.
All right, we're gonna go fold 6-4, fold queen 4, fold the jack 5, open the king, queen, folds.
Not surprising.
No,
It's our guy. It's our Merc.
so I'm gonna treat this like, I'm gonna expect that check. I'm gonna treat this like, I'm playing against a big blind range and the 10 and lower here board is probably not gonna be great for me, especially with like the 3-5. I'm gonna check this back.
Yeah, I mean.
I mean, I don't hate the bet, but I just think this board is not very good for us.
I like your check.
I've got a lot of ways to continue with my bets because I've got 3 to straight, 3 to flush. A good, decent flush. I
If I'm
think
betting, I'm betting larger.
yeah, I like that the 5-3 are very low. If it's 6-7 or something like that, I wouldn't bet, or 6-5, but 5-3, I don't mind.
We'll look at this from as if it was big blind range, which I think is a good way to start. But I think this
agree.
is going to be a big bet board. This hand may not necessarily be a big bet hand. The king of clubs is going to help you out there in that sense, but I think you're going to have all the options, and it's going to have a fairly good chunk of big betting with your range.
Yeah,
I think it will polarize with its bet for sure. I think checking is going to be totally viable.
ooh,
So that's gonna be, if I have bet here, I'm going to continue betting on this card, I would suspect. So I'm gonna expect this is gonna, check, and then, yeah, I think that sizing is about right. Yeah, I don't think you wanna go over pot here because when the turn card completes draws, you don't get to go over pot. So I think this is about the right bet size.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah, I don't mind it with the king of clubs. Now that we have the king of clubs here, we block a lot of his continuing range, so I like it.
Hey, Skate, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up, guys?
In game, I'm going 100, but we're kind of getting nitpicky. 70 whatever versus 100%.
All right, so you got called, Sutton.
Yep, so we haven't gotten raised though. So we kind of, if this checks to me, you think a lot of like single pair hands, and I'm thinking like Jack 10, 10, 9 type stuff that I can target to get to fold here. And I also guess in my head, since I have a king and a queen here, I think I would take similar lines with kings and queens. So I think I'm gonna probably put out, what are we at, 23 bigs here? I'm gonna be close to pot. I think I'm gonna, if I've taken this line this far, I'm not stopping.
Yeah, this
I'd
is
like
a
to
good
have
one
the
to look
ace,
at.
but
I'm right
I'd
there
like to
with
have
you,
the
man.
ace, but I
against a
think the
specific
king might
player,
be okay.
I would check.
I think I'm giving up.
I mean,
I
I would have
like it.
continued, and knowing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
against this player, I would give up.
That's
mean,
true.
I'm right there
This
with you,
player
the way
might
that
be a
you-
good give up.
Yeah, I would like to see with the ace of clubs, king of clubs, how you play this hand. Of course, I would have preferred to see a overcard brought away on the turn.
he is very heavily weighted towards 10x.
Low jack.
Oh, is it low jack?
No, it's hijack.
Oh yeah, it's hijack. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Theoretically, probably should be a give up, but in game, I'm going to be feeling an obligation to continue.
Why?
Not
Oh,
an
this is
insignificant
where
amount
I
of
think-
donking.
So I just find that people get really. I mean, so what's this most likely holding when he calls the turn? A
Jack
10?
10 with the club, Jack 10
Yeah,
with the jack
so
of
like
clubs.
a 10, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a lot of folds from tens. People are sticky.
probably not.
So, I mean, I think that it's a bad living to try to push people off top pair.
Yeah, if I
Probably.
bet,
If you bet, if you make the
go,
bet, it's gonna be an
all
overbet.
Okay. Okay.
And what's so
That's my
special about
guess.
the hand you're holding? I mean, I realize you're blocking one club, but
No, nothing.
That's
You're
what
right.
makes it the
That actually
really
argues
special.
not betting, in my opinion.
I have a high
Like,
club. But
seriously,
Right.
queen jack with a club with the queen of clubs might be better because you're blocking the 10.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just trying to draw a distinction. I just don't think this is a very special hand.
No, that's fair.
if you have the ace of clubs, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think the ace of clubs is definitely, and I thought the king of clubs might kind of translate a little bit there, but notice not an insignificant amount of donking on this board.
Which makes sense.
So with the
Hello?
king of clubs,
Hello.
hello,
Yeah, you bet with the king of clubs a lot.
so your king of clubs there, and it's a small sizing. There is a little sneaking of 75s in there, but it's small and medium. I thought I might see a little bit more larger bet sizing, but we saw that there was a lot of donking from the big blind, which is going to kind of eliminate a lot of the bigger bets. What did he do?
Small bet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a less than a third actually.
Yeah.
Oh no, he went 1.8. Yeah, I think he went exactly 1.8.
1.9.
Queen 10 call.
What's
Okay.
king queen doing? King of club betting.
Can we look at what all our flush draws are doing here? See if we polarize with most of them.
So many
See, if you
sizings.
go down, you should be able to see flush draw.
Oh, you want flush draws?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but there is no bigger bet
there.
than 75%. So
Way at the
That's-
bottom.
It's there at the bottom,
Wait.
yeah.
Did I miss it? Okay,
There,
there
there.
it is.
What level is this game?
This is a 50 NL.
Yeah,
Sure.
so we're mixed all
Um,
through with what we do.
yeah, if you are a solver, we do that. Huh?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. We bet more, I guess, with the king of clubs as opposed to the queen of clubs.
That's a better blocker, at least. And if you hit the club, then you have more chance of having the best.
And what did
I
he
wonder
do?
if our ace, okay, yeah, that's all right.
So
See,
he went with the 75.
yeah,
Yeah, that's correct.
Queen 10 off without a club is starting to get shook.
Yeah, club makes a difference, I guess.
now the real question is what he does on river with his busted FDs. So Jaffe had a good session about bluffing and bluff catching on Saturday, and he said these hands are very good bluffs on turn, but they can be very shitty bluffs on river.
Yeah, you want villain to have the king of clubs with a 10. Non-club 10.
Mhm.
Or 2 overcards with a club, maybe. Could be.
So this is like, yeah, so we mix.
Well,
Yeah,
when the
and it's
flush
big,
hits,
it's big bets.
When
Or
the
king of
flush
clubs is a
hits-
bet, mostly.
when the flush hits, we can have that suit in our bluffing range. When it's bad to bluff is when it's the front door and we semi-bluff it on the turn and miss it. Because we want them to have the missed flush draw if we're trying to bluff them off the hand.
Yeah, you're right, Joey. The better example of when betting turn turns into not betting river.
But he does turn, you know, at some frequency, he does turn his queen of clubs into, it's mixed, I guess.
Yeah, that's because the flush is on board. Huh?
Right, so it's good to have it on the turn because you have the equity there, right? But then it's bad to have it on the river because you block their continuing range, I guess.
Yeah, you block a high club draw.
So ace four is interesting, right? Because it's got, well, it's a straight. That's good. That makes it interesting.
Where do you see ace four?
Straight flush.
Yeah,
Not a straight.
What is that? That's 4 times pot we're seeing for the shove?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean.
So
just
yeah,
by
so
the way,
like what I was
despite
saying
the fact
before is that ace of clubs and that king of clubs are the two kind of combos of missed flush draws that you can get a little nuts with.
If you are a solver, you bet as big as possible, and then can have more bluffs.
Can you go to filters and then trash hands? And then we can see where our bluffs come from.
Mike, when you say going nuts, you say going
Ace
nuts
eyes.
on the turn or river?
The river.
Okay.
And now if you just hit, like, so it looks like our sizing. So if you hit all in and bet 34, we can see where our bluffs come from.
Well, ace high is gonna be part of it because it's a lot of those times, I'm sure it's the ace of clubs.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Mhm.
find out.
Yeah,
So what's
that's
our
what we're
ace,
saying.
ace queen off here?
Good. All right, guys, got to jump.
All right, man.
All right,
See ya.
so
Yeah, so he can't have the nut flush. We are repping the nut flush, so we do continue here.
And king queen off is also the king of clubs. Or the queen.
What's interesting with the ace of queen is that we're bluffing with the ace of clubs because you can't have the nuts, but we're giving up with the queen of clubs.
Otherwise, we are over bluffing.
So maybe is there a heuristic we can take from this? Is that we're going to continue our story with when we're blocking the nuts?
yeah.
Straight flush not included, notwithstanding.
I think that usually ends up happening organically with lines that we end up choosing. It's just like so intuitive to take those lines with those blocker combos.
Yeah.
I think.
Do we have a HUD setting on this player?
Yeah.
Or is this rush?
oh yeah, Joey. So you've kind of joined late. This player in particular in the small blind has been a known fish. A known
box
passive fish.
Passive fish.
Okay. But he doesn't like to fold.
As
We
far as we
haven't
can
really
see,
seen
not,
that.
but,
He's been getting lucky.
Exploitatively, I wouldn't bluff this guy on the river.
can be neither. He's just call happy most of the time, probably.
Yeah, and this exact hand he was so heavily weighted towards the combo that he has here, as well as like Jack 10 and 10-9. He'll be calling that off.
I mean, I think the king of clubs makes a good bluff candidate. But then you also have to target the right opponents with it.
That makes
Opponents that
sense.
can fold.
So Sutton had to leave. We take a new victim.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave also. It's 2 hours already. So,
I'll do a couple.
hey guys,
Thanks,
All right.
Yost. See you tomorrow.
See you, man.
probably.
All right. So this should just check around.
I like it.
I want to play him.
That's a bit loose in that spot.
So I think this is really cuspy for big blind consistent position. I think you should
Yeah.
fold
I think
Seems-
it's close. Well,
or
Ooh.
that.
I don't think that's in the charts, but
seemed fine as a defend. It seemed fine as a fold, in my opinion. Flip a coin.
Yeah,
See which
I'm
way the
not,
wind is blowing.
oh, it is in there.
Alright.
Well, I thought it would probably be in the call.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
so
to see that much three
Poker
betting.
coaching's a lot tighter in the big blind relative to what GTO Wizard plays.
Well, this is 3x too.
Yeah,
I have 3x charts on my GTO Wizard if you want to see it.
So. Yeah, they're all free. All those are free.
Oh, you got them too? Okay, that's cool.
Like, the low suited kings are gonna be in there, the low suited aces. Oh, okay, and then the queens
I would imagine
My
this is
my
a card that's gonna
prediction-
fall out.
yeah, and my prediction is that it's actually gonna tighten up a little bit, but these 3-bet ranges are actually gonna be similar. The 3x tends to, okay, no, then considerably tighter. But I mean, like, all of this seems to like go up in frequency.
Yeah. No, that
So-
makes sense.
That makes more sense with the 3x that it mostly falls out.
Yeah.
You could see where, do you think this is a more polarized three betting strat? I think this,
Oh, for
so
sure.
we're three betting 12%, right? And what region? It might be interesting to compare these two. And so what region are we three betting? So do we three bet more from the suited king region against this sizing?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of them are coming from the suited aces and suited kings. Because they block the aces, kings, ace, king. And then a couple of the broadways. King, jack off. See, they're the ones I typically hit. The king, jack off, queen, jack off.
I'm gonna pull up the other 2.5x and we can see side by side.
I have a question about the the 3x thing when you get a chance. It's kind of off topic.
Well, go ahead, real quick.
So I subscribe to GTO Wizard. Where did you get 3x opens?
I'll
It's in the
show it to you here
settings.
in a second. I'll show you where that is. We discovered it
It's
not
not
long
on
ago
the-
ourselves.
Yeah, we found it, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right under our noses.
I look forward to seeing that.
When you go into your settings here, Josh, you go down to this pre-flop only.
Oh,
Okay. Post-flop included will only be those limited ones we're used to. Pre-flop only includes these opening sizes.
oh, that's helpful.
Yeah,
But this doesn't have rake.
it doesn't? Yeah, it does.
No,
It has
NL50, yeah.
yeah, NL50 rake.
I was looking at the cash drop of none.
Okay, so what do we got? So we got a three bet.
3x on the right. Oops.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I hate this. How do I
Click-
get
You might
out
have
of
to share
here?
screen.
Click the active screen that you want.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So let's start with three bet.
God damn it. I hate that Windows wrap doing it to me. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Have to slide it down here.
So what's
Come
our,
on.
now it's just trolling.
It is
Is it Windows 11?
13, I think.
Okay, so what do
Way
we got?
down
So we
here.
got three bet, a three bet, what's our three bet? Comparison, three bet frequency comparison.
We were looking at
Oh,
queen something suited as a 3-bet.
So we've got 7% we're raising at what you call our quote unquote normal ranges, right?
I don't know how I got to that point.
So we saw 12% before. And
Click table up top. Nope.
I think I just gotta make it, it's minimized or
Oh.
sized.
See the eyeball in the bottom? Try clicking the eyeball. Nope.
What are you guys trying to do?
Trying to
I-
get our
I-
frequencies.
I have never seen this, I don't know how you got that because I've never seen that in my GTO wizard.
Is that under
Yeah, me neither.
breakdown? The breakdown tab?
No, it's not.
So you see, I think
Oh.
it's because it's minimized. So if you go, you might be able to, if you minimize the top bar, it might come back. Or if you maximize
Oh.
the top bar, it might come
I
back.
know what to click actions.
Actions here,
Nope,
there.
I think you have to maximize this top bar,
no,
which doesn't show the different sizings. Think you can do that by, yeah, what if you just click there? No. Whatever, you just click on the bar directly.
I don't know what you did to it.
Oh,
I just
okay. You guys are missing. I see. You're looking at like raise 9.5. It's not showing there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you actually go, if you hover, at some point you'll get an up down arrow and you can pull it down. So if you just
hover over it.
slowly go down until you get a bar. No, up. Well, at some point you should get a bar. And you should be able to pull that down to get the sizing.
Well, this is giving us the options we wanted. It's
Right, this is what we wanted to see.
just in a different context than we've ever seen it before.
So we got raise 8, so we're raising 8.2, right?
Well, no, he's got it on the small blind node.
Okay, so we're raising 7% here.
Yeah.
Hijack versus big blind, right?
And calling 19% in the 2 versus the 2.5.
Okay, now what happens if when we go to? So
I'm being very
7.1,
cautious.
yeah, understandably. Okay, so we're raising the same percentage
And calling less.
and calling less, okay.
That kind
So-
of makes sense.
So we don't actually have, in this particular example, we don't have an expanded 3-bet range despite the fact that there's more dead money.
Well, theoretically, he's opening 3x with a tighter range, and so that's an incentive to not expand your 3-bet range.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
I
go
mean, you
back
wonder
to,
if in this situation there was an exploit going on there. Okay, I opened with 6-4 suited. I don't know how often you open 6-4 suited from that position, but
I think it's 0.
zero.
yeah, so he's too wide. So he might be, if you know the guy's too wide, then you might do this if you think he's going to open fold.
Well, we could look at his HUD stats
Yeah.
and see if he's shown anything. I think he's been pretty,
Or if all the players behind you are super tight, you can expand your range.
yeah, agreed.
And
If you're not
6-4
getting
was
3-bet.
probably kind of like that, just outside of. So hijack range 6-4, yes, just outside that 6-5, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, just outside the hair. Yeah, the point
I
is, in
wanna see
order
the
to
HUD
open
stats.
6-4, you've got to be really wide. And if you see that in the big line, maybe you can 3-bet. But I don't know.
You just know some tables how you can you're just gonna outplay everybody else.
Well, he's not gonna outplay people with he's opening 40% of hands.
No, that's true. Okay.
It's only
Well,
12 hands.
Yeah,
I
Part
don't know
of
that.
Part
Sorry.
of the concept of outplaying somebody is going to the flop with a better range than they will have.
Sure. I find myself on a lot of tables where I'm like, there's a lot of players that I have a hard time respecting, and I can expand my range significantly.
so he's reacting he's been at this table as long as you have, so he's reacting to this guy's VPIP, right? His VPIP is 42%, so he's exploitatively three betting.
But
Yeah.
that's only 12 hands. I
Well,
think
we
he's
discussed before how often we can extrapolate play. If there's any stat we can extrapolate play from early, it's VPIP.
Well, especially when it's this wide, this large. Like, it's pretty hard to see 12 hands that get you betting that often when you're,
Yeah, and then we could talk about standard deviations, blah, 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 but yeah. When you're at this high, you know, his lower band is probably like 30 and his upper band 60.
all right. Hang on.
so King Concerto made a
Okay.
comment that, I don't know your name, but I found interesting because I find that I find myself in games sometimes where people are just really, really splashy. And I find that, you know, not deviating too much from my pre-flop hands serves me better than trying to play well by playing less bad than everybody else. I mean, and when I say less bad, I mean when I wind up going to the flop with hands that are weak, especially out of position. I mean, I don't like this queen 6 3-bet, even though I realize it's you know, justified by his width, because I just find like playing bad because I'm the better player is kind of a, I don't know, it's an oxymoron to some extent.
No, that's fair. That's a very valid point for sure.
And just the standard deviation for 12 hands. I'm assuming 5 hands, 5 out of 12 gets you to about the 42%. So he's played 5 hands and raised 5 hands. Standard deviation with 12 would still get him to 16.6% on the low end. That's just what I'm saying with, I mean, you can start having some confidence that he's wide, but queen 6 suited is part of a 3-bet range, so I'm not putting that against him. But if he's doing this as an exploit, I think he's getting too far out of line if this is in his normal 3-bet range against a small sample.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. If I could just add to the comment I just made, I will expand or widen my ranges a little bit when I think I'm playing with someone who's really wide and not so good, but I'm not doing it out of position. To me, it's like, don't mess with the tightness out of position. And in cash games, and again, this might be a live exploit more, you know, don't get overly excited about the odds you're getting from the big blind, because you just don't want to play out of position that much.
You have a good point, but solver will
Yeah.
have a polarized 3-bet range in big blind against the later position for sure.
Yeah.
Something
And
I
that's going to
haven't
change
seen-
depending on your rake structure.
Yeah.
Something I haven't seen that could have happened, because I've only seen 2 hands and this guy's been around for 12. If he's open raising every time it folds to him, then I think you could be, that is more evidence that he's wide.
Sure. Absolutely.
So so he's going to take this, right? This guy can't call.
Oh.
All right, am I still doing these?
Yeah.
Yep, you're up there.
Yeah, I think it should fold onto the 5s. 5s get to open.
Full frequency,
What's his cutoff?
hijack.
Hijack.
Hijack? I think it mixes, depending on who's. Yeah, it mixes depending on whose ranges you're looking at.
Yeah, I think solver frequency 5s are going to be in about that 50%-ish.
Ace 9 is a tight fold. Unless you're spicy.
I'd
Correct
3-bet.
fold. All right, let's take a look at the pre-flop ranges.
Yeah, I think my ranges are a bit tighter than GTO Wizard because I spent time learning the poker coaching ones.
So hijack, we looked a little earlier, fives were, whoops, let's make sure we are looking at hijack. Yeah, actually down into the 25% range. And then ace nine, I'm pretty sure is gonna be folded pretty much at full.
It's,
There's slivers of
no,
both.
there's slivers of three betting. And if there's not, there should be.
No, there are.
Yeah, there's slivers of both.
Now,
Yeah.
I would three bet this against hijack.
I like it. I like 3-bet.
Cool, going to a flop. So, there should be some, yeah, you should see that. Size should,
Okay, any leading,
Tony's-
Larry?
I don't think there's any leading here. I
I'm
don't
not
think there's any-
crazy about a
Oh.
lead.
Yeah, there probably
I think it's a
wouldn't be any
donk
sport.
free. I think we're in a donk free environment. Yeah, he should bet at this. I mean, I think the theory here is that even though it's a paired board against this wide range, you do get to bet at a high frequency on this kind of board.
Take a
Yeah,
look.
for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if there's, I mean, the ace is gonna three bet less, the ace high board is gonna get less three bet, C bets than the king or queen high board.
And the paired board is gonna increase your frequencies of C betting.
Yeah.
Is our hand a good C bet hand?
Well, if he's C betting net wide, his sizing sucks.
Yeah, you're not gonna
Yeah.
see that sizing, I guarantee you.
I think you were all spot on with all of that, to be honest.
And easy call by the ace nine, right, Larry?
Yeah, sure.
Turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should go check, check.
It does.
And let's see what he does. He should. I mean, this is an
What's
interesting
ace
one.
nine doing?
I think he should be 50, be 75.
Fives check turn.
What are the
Yep,
stats?
yeah.
What are the stats for the guy with the fives?
I mean, I'm betting 100% pot with ace nine there. We're as out of position here.
Oh, is he the 6-6?
Yep, he's 6'6". The 5'5" is the player with 6'6".
Oh, wow.
I
I didn't know he
think
was that
I'm-
tight.
I might be going like 66%.
Ace nine.
Yeah,
Yep. Full frequency, always. Any
oh
checking?
yeah. No, I'm not, I don't. After he checked back the turn, I don't wanna check the river.
I agree. I agree.
That's,
Wow. Silly.
that's way too large for that. That level of a hand on a paired board, that's way too large.
Yeah, and he's blocking his ace X. Like, what is he hoping to get called by there?
Yeah, I mean, also because most aces will continue a turn bet.
Yeah, you're right about no donking, right? A
Yeah,
little bit, tiny bit.
So,
so yeah, small, so we size small here. What's
And-
our,
Five
It-
should be checked.
so look at our aces and their betting frequency depending on kicker. It's very linear depending on kicker.
yeah, it's interesting, the fives do check here.
Yeah, I think betting's okay. I think that, generally on this board, there's people will overfold. They won't continue with, for instance, a backdoor flush, two middle cards.
I'm surprised it's pure check. Thought it would have
And,
some frequency.
Well,
I
If you
I
look
think
at
that,
the
I think
check
an
Once you-
exploitative bet here is fine.
One suit combo does have some betting.
Okay. Okay.
Spades,
The
clubs.
ace dramatically pulls back the C betting frequency.
His combo has some betting. But
I'm saying
Oh
the
yeah, that is spade.
on the
club.
board dramatically pulls down the
Yeah, I
frequency.
think the important takeaway here is on this paired board, if we are betting, we're betting small.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
I
the
don't think we can
important
And-
we can't even continue with his sizing.
and we're still not betting range.
No.
Well, no, again, you're betting significantly. You're not betting a lot. You're not betting often.
Mike, do you have is this yours, your GTO we're looking at now?
Yeah.
Do you have the premium?
No. No.
Okay.
Just the like whatever the less expensive version is.
Yeah, because I wanted to see a report real quick, and I don't think yours has hijack versus big blind.
No, it doesn't. So I'm curious about, because he obviously uses a sizing that, well, I guess there's little slivers of it in here. I guess maybe we could give it to him. It's gonna be
So
probably
no
throw
aces are
everything out of
folding.
whack.
I think you have. I think you have those reports that he's looking for. You're saying
The
you don't have
hijack.
the AI, right?
I
No,
don't have AI, but the reports that I get are only big blind. See, here's the reports I can access.
I do have the report. I
Yeah.
want to look at.
Do we
I
want
wanna-
to save reports for tomorrow? Isn't that more kind of a Tuesday thing?
I know. I just want to check paired boards, see how much that we.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you pull that up, Joey. I'm just going to kind of go through the hand and we'll finish the hand here just to see what we can do. If you pull yours up, we'll share yours in just a moment.
To check, and then, so, yeah, you should shut down.
So
It's
we
really
are-
hard to continue anything that is not
Yeah,
in
it's
the,
hard to.
yeah. Does he shut down aces? That's the question I would have.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go back to the hijack option.
And then
Aces
just look
are-
at top pair. Yeah, if we filter for top pair, what do we see? There we are. Yeah, so we're shutting down everything it looks like but our very best kicker.
Mhm.
Which makes sense, right?
Yep.
We want to get value from all the other aces with our ace king, but everything else shuts down. Even though villain doesn't have ace king.
So the ace nine, certain combos do check, and most combos are going to overbet.
So what is, sorry, the ace nine is. When he has it, he's overbetting.
Okay.
I don't. So he's picking some to overbet. And then others he's checking. Is that what I see?
That's what
Mhm.
it looks like to me. Yeah.
Looks like the ace of diamonds is the one that wants to check,
Yep.
and
Yep.
all the others wants to overbet.
Exactly.
So, so when he has busted backdoor FDs, that's just enough for us. When he lacks busted backdoor FDs, that's just enough for us to check that. Is what I'm reading here.
That's what I take out of it. That's what that looks like to me.
But if he possesses a higher frequency of the backdoor FDs, then we have enough value to bet.
Look at the global situation here. There is massive overbetting happening across a lot of this range after it went bet 75 on a flop that he shouldn't bet 75. And then goes check, check on the turn. Look at all of these hands that are
Yeah.
going
Can you click on breakdown real quick?
B300 and B150.
It'll visualize how much, yeah, look, super polarized range. With lots of betting going from essentially our trash.
Mm-hmm.
So no made hand, so if you look at no made hand at the bottom, we're pure bluffing here.
Yeah. Literally pure.
That's an important thing to see.
Yeah.
So when he caps himself on a paired board. So I bet if you went back and looked at this, part of our imposition strategy is going to be to bet, check, eights, right? So if, and that I think would allow us, my guess is that we do that
Well,
in order to be able to bluff like we are here.
Yeah, well, if Joey's got the reports ready, we can check those
yeah,
out. You wanna do
I
that?
do, but I wanna talk about this spot here with the overbets. The reason we have overbets, and it's very similar to when it goes check, check on the flop and we're out of position on turn, we have overbets when the board doesn't change. The 9, based on what would be in range after the flop, doesn't change anything. So after it goes check, check, kind of a blank on the river, the out of position player gets a lot of big betting. It's not because it's a paired board, it's just a general thing that happens in the solver after it goes check, check. If the board doesn't change, the out of position player gets to bomb it.
In position or out of position?
Out of position gets to bomb it when the board doesn't change. In position gets to bomb when it does change.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
And that would be after out of position checks river, obviously then, right? In position could just like fire.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Alright, if you stop sharing for a second, I'll show you my report. I was, cause a lot of times paired boards, we think about, range betting. So I just wanted to look at big blind versus hijack, what range bets do we get on this paired board? So basically when we pair aces. And then we got paired kings and paired queens here.
Mhm.
Paired kings on the board, we get a lot of range betting. Queen, queen. Paired queens, it's close to range betting.
Okay.
But then it kind of goes down, except for like here, paired twos. Paired twos monotone, or not monotone. Paired twos with no flush draw.
Mhm.
And as we keep going down the thing, the paired twos, no flush draws, range betting. So basically, paired twos, paired aces, paired kings, and paired queens are our range bets on a paired board.
we look
So
at
like-
paired eights really quick, which is this example.
That makes
Well, we-
sense. That's in line with range interaction, so.
This one would have been this flop right here. Ace 8, 8, or
Rainbow.
no flush,
Rainbow.
rainbow.
Cool.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cause a lot of time you hear, oh, paired board range bet. And in cash, that doesn't happen as much.
No, particularly on an ace high paired board.
So that's all I was checking for, to see what range bets we have on the paired boards.
What do you mean by range bet?
When you bet everything in your range.
So you mean you always bet? Is that what you mean when you say a range
Yeah.
bet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me go to one of these range bets here.
yeah,
Oh,
you're
wait,
always betting that flop regardless of the combo that you have.
paired. Alright, so I'm gonna open this spot. So this is the flop. And big blind checks, and we bet with everything we have in range.
Okay. So that means based on the pre-flop action, you should always bet there. Because everything in your pre-flop bets, is that what you're saying?
Right, everything you open if you're in a hijack, everything you open and the big blind calls. And after the big blind checks, on this flop, ace, ace, 9 rainbow, you're supposed to bet every single thing in your range.
Okay.
That's what a range bet means.
'Cause it means it smashes your range.
Either
If it's your
that
main
or
three hard.
either that or it totally misses your opponent's range.
Yeah, makes sense.
Skate, you're off by a little bit.
No, no, it just changed right now. As you were speaking. It just changed.
All right. Larry, you want to take the next?
Yeah, I'll do one or two more and we
Get
can
us
pass it
around.
on.
Well, you haven't done an orbit yet. You can keep going.
Okay. Ace 10's a little early. I think 8-9 can open. Ace 8 can defend.
We'll take a look at that ace 10. I think you're right. I think it's
Yeah, this is a weird situation. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
so the check.
I have no idea.
You don't know what you would do here with 8-9? 8-9
So
of
check,
clubs.
check. I think probably, what would I do? So I've got no, essentially, I've got no showdown. I probably would bet and then give up. But I don't know
Size.
if that's a good thing to do.
I know I'll end up doing that a lot too. So.
But I've got
What size would
absolutely
you use?
nothing. Probably player dependent.
I would probably check this, but bet the hearts and diamonds.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's take a look at this early position, ace 10. So you get to low jack +1 and it's half frequency, and under the gun plus, or low jack +2 is sometimes I call it, but under the gun +1 it's folding at, it's 80% frequency, and under the gun 9-handed it's a complete fold.
Yep.
Button raises the ace 9, we get called, and 8-9 of clubs is on a, what is it, queen 3 and 7.
Yeah, I think if we were to look at this board, these boards are kind of, I think, kind of toss ups. If you were to look at range versus range, I think, no one has a clear advantage here. So yeah, we're mixing all through. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, hearts, diamonds are doing it more, but the others are still doing it.
So if you go back to big blind versus blind before it checks.
It's
Yeah,
just,
I guess the button has a little bit of a range advantage, but it's this, if you look at the linear equity graph, this is a pretty even board.
so when you say the button has the range advantage because the equity is 51.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you would expect the button to have a meaningful range advantage on most boards. So the fact that it gets down to 52 tells me it doesn't have a range advantage. I mean, technically you're right, but
You're right. I
It's
mean, yeah, that's my point.
so
This board is
neutral.
pretty much a toss up, right? I mean, we've got an uncapped range versus a capped range, so we're always gonna have a little bit of a range.
Yeah,
advantage.
I think, I can't remember the exact numbers. But I think Jonathan looks at range advantage starting at 53%. And big range advantage at 56% and higher.
Yeah, you can still have range advantage without much range interaction.
Yeah, because you're
Okay.
an uncapped range. Versus a capped range.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not-
Person.
It's not necessarily capped versus uncapped. Button versus big blind will often be close because it's basically two wide ranges.
Well, is one range
Yeah.
capped?
Well, button or big blind should be doing 3-betting.
Yeah, I mean, this is
but
big blind does have a capped range, I think, right?
I would say
He
yeah,
does have a capped range, but both ranges are still very wide.
correct.
Yes, yes, but we have an
So-
uncapped range, which gives us an inherent equity advantage, right?
So I think you're right, except I think what Joey, I don't want to speak for Joey, but I always say, remember the denominator, right? You have such a large number of hands that your aces, kings, and queens, your pocket aces, kings, and queens get diluted by just the sheer number of hands you have.
Yeah.
So range advantage is diluted there, and it's really yeah. And when you say range, I mean, to me, that's almost like a nut advantage, but
Well, those are
it's
two
been
different.
very diluted.
That is exactly what I was gonna say, just in different words. When we have, I don't know, like 700 combos and we have a range advantage in the top 25 hands combos, it's our range advantage is quite diluted because our total range is so wide. But say we had like a middle position range where we might only have 300 combos and then the top 25 now it's a bigger chunk of our total range of where he's capped.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. And if I could add one more comment by without looking at these comparative ranges that you see here, you'll see that there's a huge difference between a queen high flop and a king high flop
Mhm.
here. And as a result, if you go to if button checks and if you click on the button, I'm sorry, if big blind checks and you click on the button, you're going to see we're not c-betting that often. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we're checking half the time on a board that we all normally think of as a c-betting position, big button. And so that when you get down to, you got to check half the time, you're going to get rid of a lot of your bets. So the observation was made, I think it was by Larry earlier, that you don't have any showdown value, which is true, but you have no other real advantages here. I mean, you've got two small cards. Was it? I can't remember what it was. 10-9 or something.
8-9 of clubs.
Yeah, I mean, so you're 3 to a straight, but I don't really think that matters that much. Without the second, without any sort of backdoor activity here.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right.
I
so
mean,
we do a lot of checking
we do
on the
get
flop.
bets through our entire range. So we get bets. If we were to look at breakdown here, we're going to see bets mixed out through entire range except we have this little middle region with our middling cards, which have some kind of around 50% equity, which are going to want to check back. But we're going to mix, yeah. In theory, we're going to mix bets through our entire range. I mean,
Yeah. That's
I mean,
true.
I think it comes down a lot to if population overfolds, right? If population overfolds, or if this player overfolds, then maybe he throws you into your no equity betting bucket.
Yeah.
Alright, this is an interesting hand. Unfortunately, I don't think he's getting action before. Where's our limper? We need our limper to limp now. No, no dice. Raise and take.
There's that
hate
ace
that.
ace on the button.
I hate that, but statistically, when you have pocket aces, you're less likely to get action because you hold half of the aces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
You're still allowed to swear under your breath, though.
this looks like, I think the king six actually doesn't get to R5. I think this might fold around. King six is supposed to fold, I think. No, there's
check
a,
it
where
out.
was he before?
That's our
That's the
guy.
same player. That's our guy. Let's just check out the small blind ranges here. Okay.
I think that's the second ace nine we've seen on limp.
So you
Well-
were right there. King six is just sort of
Yeah, small blind, the small blind ranges
Slippery.
in, poker coaching once again are a bit tighter.
Players like this have a static range of hands that they want to see the flop with. They have this list of hands they want to see a flop with. They don't care what position they're in, how
Yep.
big of a raise somebody made before them. I have to see the flop.
Yep, yep, yep. Jack 10, pocket fours.
So we're kind of in that situation, Larry. We can kind of go through this quick if you want.
Yeah, sure. So, so we've got a limper, we've got a flatter. So
Put
who
you in the
knows?
10
Yeah,
deuce.
just I don't know
seat.
what to do.
'Cause
Let's
you
just
would-
let's just see what he does. He should
You would
bet.
have 10 deuce here.
Now, I would check the 10
Well, who
two.
knows? I mean, who limps? I mean, whatever. Yeah. So the real question is, what do you do with the two? I think I call one here.
Yeah.
No, he made too big of a bet.
You wouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
that's pot size.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
pot size bet shit. Okay.
So one thing I've seen a lot is that the limper is going to pot size a lot. I mean, this is kind of the default.
Okay.
I guess it's very hard to improve with this two. We'd have to have another 2 or a 10, and a lot of our improves are not good. So because any club sucks.
I mean,
I might be inclined to call one here. See what
When,
yeah,
happens.
when
like-
you
yeah.
when you have a 10-2, any card but the only two cards you want to see are the non-club tens. Any other card would suck for your two.
Okay, very good insight, thanks. So this is, yeah, so I get the 10 jack off, gets RFI. And queen 8 off, I think is a fold.
Hmm, I don't know, that's close.
Yeah,
That might
that's
have,
what is-
that might have some raising in it against button.
Not against button. So fold against button, but he gets to do it.
Just outside. Okay.
The easy memory there is offsuit nines against the cutoff, offsuit nines against the small blind. I'm sorry, offsuit eights against the small blind, offsuit nines against the button, offsuit tens against the cutoff, offsuit jacks against the hijacks.
Okay,
See escape.
So- it starts with eights versus small blind. It just goes up 1 pip for every position. Back to middle.
Exactly, until you get to low jack, and then it's a little different.
Okay,
But that's a real quick heuristic of whether you defend or not.
that's really good to know.
Roll through it once, and you'll see the pattern.
And I'm trying to decipher what you're telling. You're saying from the small blind, it starts with offsuit eights. So if
No,
the
no.
small blind raises,
No.
Yeah,
Um,
the small
You're in
blind
the,
raises.
you're in the big blind, yeah, small blind raises, look at your
Yeah.
big blind.
okay, so.
Look at the offsuit
right,
eights.
Offsuit eights.
They're-
okay, that's
They're
where-
really there. You know,
And then
remember the
like we
king
just
being,
saw, the button
aces
starts
and
with the
kings are different,
nines,
right? Button,
right? So cut off. Cut off, you're saying moves up to the tens?
Yep.
That,
And hijack.
Hijack.
hijacks is gonna be the jacks. Nice, easy heuristic.
Yeah, that is something nice and easy to remember.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, okay. Pretty cool.
I never picked that up before, but that's great to know that.
Easiest pattern in the world.
Larry, again, you were on the fence on queen 8, so
Yeah.
we'll,
So, yeah, I
Right
think you
here.
call here. You call if you got shot. You fold, it's fine.
So I wonder if there's any raising being done there with the gut shot.
Probably this wide, but you're not supposed to have that combo, so.
yeah.
And maybe not on this board.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of check raises when a straight flops.
No, yeah, it makes sense.
Like if it was king jack 8, then we would have more check raises than king jack 9.
How much raising does 10-8 have there? With the open-ended straight draw.
I don't think 10-8's playing this hand.
And it's
Yeah,
suited,
okay,
yeah.
no, that's
Make it suited. And it plays.
yeah,
10-8 suited in the
so-
small blind plays?
yeah, 10-8 clubs. What does
Big
10-8
blind,
clubs
in the
do
big blind.
there? Well, he's got 10 clubs, but
In the small blind, it's got to fold, doesn't it?
Are you
No,
talking
we're
about
big
in the
blind.
big blind?
In the big blind.
We're in the big
blind.
blind.
big blind I'm
Oh,
talking.
okay. Oh, gotcha. Because there
I
was a
think it-
10-8 in the small blind. That's why I was confused.
I think it may call,
Oh, okay.
cause I don't think we
Yes.
have many value. The problem on a board that flops a straight, where our opponent can have that straight, is we don't have many really good premium hands for our value range.
Okay, okay, sure. That makes the argument to call more. Okay. I can see that.
But I'm not gonna say I know for certain, so if we wanna look at it real quick,
This is a button open, right?
yeah, button open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I have it wrong?
Yeah, you
Cutoff.
hit cut off.
Sorry.
Oh well. Oh. That's still big blind. Button, big blind, button.
And he went small.
Yeah.
And smaller, we might have some,
Yeah, okay,
a
okay.
little bit.
Decent little mix there. Okay. Which seems like it makes perfect sense to me.
And when
Yep.
you use the bigger sizing
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
part.
Most of it is around the hands that flop to straight.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So that's why we have a lot of queens in our range that are bluffing too.
For sure.
The queens and tens block the straight.
Yeah.
it
So
looks
he's
like-
probably a little tight here because the queen at suited calls.
Yeah, that's a good visualization of blocker effects in full effect, basically.
The queen at suited calls without the backdoor flush.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Does the 10-8 do the same thing without the backdoor? Pretty close, yeah.
I mean, I'm making that check raise quite a lot of the time, and it's not really impacted too much by a backdoor flush.
And
So
I think if he makes it king, real quick, just to see, if he makes it king, jack, 8, I think we do get more check raises.
okay. Yeah, slightly, but it did go
Yeah.
up.
It went from 6 to about 10.5.
Makes sense.
Ooh, fireworks.
Alright, I guess this is all the way around, right? Someone else now, or do you want me to take this last one?
Well, you got 2 more, this one and one more to make it a full
Okay.
orbit.
Yeah, get to
All right,
work.
full orbit.
Stop slacking.
So, cut off hijack word. So I think the ace four gets to open this early.
We got a wrench already.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. So now seven should fold. No set mining here for you.
Sevens could have 3-bet.
And then we get to the aces. The only question to me really is what the size. So we've got aces, right? So default is 16, maybe even more, 17. Because we got a limper and we've got an ISO. However, obviously this is not a range we're ever gonna see on any pre-flop ranges that I know about. So I'm curious if we size down with the very top of our range here. So
Yeah.
let's ask you guys, what size would you use here?
22.
So the one thing I would point out is that he started a 10 blind short. And it matters in this case. A
Okay.
little
So what size would you use, Jeff?
bit.
I think
I think I would probably use 15 or 16 in this case because of the smaller stack size.
Yeah,
If
so you got two,
stack size-
you got an ISO, a flat from a set mine, right?
Oh, I didn't see the small. I thought three's folded. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Three's called. That's why you gotta go a little higher.
So
Yeah, I
maybe
mean-
20's right. Maybe 20's
I
right.
think 20's right in that case. I didn't see the flat. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I do 18.1 or 19.1.
I think you can exploitatively think here, what's the amount that will get me exactly one caller?
Yeah,
And not worry about balancing that. I think because of the unusual thing. Now, I don't know
yeah,
that there
we're
is
way
enough
off
that we
theory
can-
here. I
Well,
mean, so
yeah.
the question becomes, we wanna,
Yeah.
we wanna be up against one person. So what is that size?
And I think it's gonna be
With-
impossible to find it
with-
because.
I
the guy
think
who's
it's
gonna-
around 19.
With P5, maybe 30.
Just I think when you go 20 and larger, it scares a lot of people away, and you just fold it out pre. I think 15, 16 is going to be too small. I think sort of 18, 19 is the sweet spot to get that one
can
Yeah,
see
caller.
and
that.
I actually, you know what? I'm going to revise this a little bit because of the extra blind. I mean, I would go smaller. I would go 15, 16. I wouldn't mind being up against one player instead of two, but I'm just trying to structure myself to get all in here.
I mean, I think you want to go larger than 16, but less than 20. I
Can we
think that's
agree
clear.
though, we
I
don't,
think-
we want
I think-
to, we don't wanna go multi-way, right? Is there anybody here who's comfortable going multi-way here?
I'm not
I'm fine
excited to
with
go
multiplayer.
multi-way.
I
I'm
don't
totally
want to.
fine multiplayer.
I don't
mean,
want to, but
Aren't they
it'll-
making a mistake if they put money in and you have aces?
Well, I think the argument with not going multi-way is that you've now cut your equity considerably. And we can show you that if we go multi-way here, we can show you that with what the equities are. So
No, but-
against one player, you're gonna have 80% equity. Against two other players, you're gonna go down to like 55, 60% equity.
Yeah, but you're going to
But
also.
the pot is bigger. So you're making money every time you put like
Yeah.
$87 in there.
That's true.
That's
So
a
you get
valid argument.
87.
I think you generally do not want to, generally, in theory, you do not want to play a hand multi-way. Especially aces this deep.
it-
I mean, there's a lot of implied odds here.
I don't think that's right. I think that
Okay.
for every big blind you put in, you get more equity out.
Okay.
So I'm with Dietrich
so
here.
pause-
Okay,
pause
I
for a
don't
second.
understand what's going on.
Pause for a second. Pause for a second here. Both points make sense, and we don't need to convince each other of which one's right. We just need to make clear what our thoughts are. So
Okay.
one set of thoughts which makes complete sense is I want to have a higher chance of winning with my aces. The other is I'm up against a bigger pot and more likely somebody will get something to go all the way to the river.
Okay.
So those are the two ideas. They compete against each other, and Derek thinks that one is more important, and Larry thinks the other one is more important. But I think what we both stated them clearly. One other thing about this, though, is even in your ability, which is it's going to be very, very hard to choose a size that will get you multi-way, and here's what that will get you heads up, and here's why. If you bet enough to get the ace four, because he's the stronger of the two ranges, right? The initial one. If he calls, it almost always gives the small blind the odds to win, odds to participate, because now they only have to put in a third of the pot. So
Mhm.
that bet size probably doesn't exist. Once you get past the ace four, everybody folds, and if the ace four calls, then so do the threes.
That's why when I do it, I just my standard for a spot like this is pot plus one increment of the raise.
Right.
Which comes out to like
Okay.
22.
So Joey, the thing I want to point out is you want to think a little bit about, okay, do I mind getting stacks all in right now? The answer I think is yes. On mini flops, I wouldn't mind getting stacks in and so forth. I'm structuring this to get stacks in by the turn of river, and I don't want to lose players. So this is why I don't put in 20. I put in.
I don't- In population, I don't think you lose players by adding a couple big blinds. I mean, theoretically,
No, I think that's true. I think that's a fair way to do it. I mean, I think that I just I don't necessarily need to. I will lose players if I put in too many blinds. Unless they.
Yeah.
they disregard.
And I think
But-
there's a very clear threshold that you pass when that happens, and that's usually on these like 10 big blind, 20 big blind numbers,
I think the
these
difference
increments of
between
10.
18 and 20,
I said 15.
well, 15 is way too small.
I say 20,
If
21,
you're,
22.
if you're heads up, the minimum standard would be 16. If nobody else was in the pot except for the ace four suited.
Well, again, I'm pointing out that we are starting at 89 blinds.
I know, I get that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Would it be
I
too
think-
small
I
if
think
we're
we've all
starting at
come to
50
the-
blinds?
we've all come to
What
the
do you
conclusion
think?
that our ideal sizing here is someplace between 15 and 20.
Yeah, but just to follow the thought process, Joey, if you were at 50 blinds to start the hand, would you still think 15 is too small?
That's hard to say because I never play any hands with a broken stack.
Your opponent might have a
You could
broken
be at an
stack, so you could be at
effective
50
stack of
effective.
50.
Yeah, what if your opponent had 50 blinds and you don't have any control over that?
Well,
I mean,
it. No, I think I would still do the standard sizing and let him decide whether he wants to play for the money.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to belabor this, but I think that you want. I don't know if it's right, but I don't think it's right. I mean, when stack sizes go down, your bet sizes go down.
Right, that's true in MTTs. I do
Well, the only
understand.
reason why it's true in MTTs is you're living life with smaller stack sizes often. The reality is the same in a cash game when it happens.
But the one thing I would rather get everybody to fold than two players to call in position on me.
I hear you.
same.
All right, so what's our grand reveal, Mike? What does
Grand reveal?
P4 choose?
He jams.
Ah,
Well, that makes sense.
The worst of all choices.
Well, you know what's funny about it is
folding is.
Except
but
for
it's not
fold.
as bad
Folding
You
as
is
didn't
it
worse.
fold. You didn't fold. Good play. Didn't fold.
Because what do you think the EV is of pocket aces in this situation?
Well, we could see it actually. We could see
Yeah, I
it.
mean, the point is taking down the 8 blinds isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not.
Is this a cash game? What is he thinking?
Oh,
So
I
what's-
see that all the time in life.
So he's got 50% equity here, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's 50% equity against these specific hands.
You see this all the time?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most frequent result, but I see it happen with a meaningful amount of frequency.
I can-
Wow.
I
Yeah,
can get behind shoving ace king here, but blocking the RFIers. The ISO is aces and kings, but this is obviously
And
Not
ace
the
king
most
off
profitable.
specifically.
I-
That's
this is not the most profitable play here.
I
Folding
will
is
say in the
the
multi-way angle, I would much rather have that 8-7 hearts rather than ace-ace if we're gonna go and see a 3-4-way flop, but
It's also
I'll
the
take
other
that
thing
bet
about,
all day.
yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The
I'll
other
take that
thing-
bet all day.
in terms of Derek, in terms of seeing it, what we see, and it's a very bad play, but it's a really fun one for some people, is to
Oh,
do
okay.
is to do a crazy outsized all in. You know, and daring someone to think that you're bluffing it. It's, you know, you're sitting there, nobody even opens. You know, you're 100 big blinds deep and somebody just puts in 100 big blinds. RFI. First in.
It happens.
That-
man.
That is, you know, it is that play is more heavily to aces than you'd think it would be, since it's such a bad play with aces, because it's so fun to make when they call.
I mean, I love it as an angle shoot. I mean, open up
That's-
with $100 chip, be like, oh shit, I thought that was a $1 chip, sorry.
Right.
So
yeah,
speaking of
so
angle
no.
shoots, how often do you guys see the RFI to 25 big blinds? That looks like it was someone who misclicked 2.5 big blinds.
Are you
I've never
talking
seen it.
live or online?
I've done
Online.
it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't really see it.
Yeah, I see that on occasion.
So I do see both in MTTs and cash games live, people telegraphing the strength of their hand with adding a blind or two. So you'll get like a 3x open normal and a 5x open with aces and kings.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And I mean, it's absurd, but I do see it with some frequency.
I would say at low enough stakes, that's even viable. You could even open as high as 8x with your strongest combos.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
this is,
you're right. I mean, I've talked to people who seriously believe that they do well with that. I think it's a bad play.
I haven't in practice. I'm entirely an online player, but I
Wow.
can see the argument.
So I don't think you get to open this early. 9-handed, or this is 8-handed. I don't think you get. I think you have to fold this.
This is
Hey,
my
guys,
all-time
this is
favorite
great.
combo.
I better
10-9
run.
clubs.
Goodbye.
See ya.
So yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
always
it was
going
a
to be
fold.
pep 10-9 just because I have such affection for this combo. This is my special hand.
I think it's gonna have the slivers of raising.
Yeah, I think this does have a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd raise it.
I'd say it's a fold.
so the queen jack gets to open ace 10. I think mostly.
I would three
Um,
bet the ace 10.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Joey would 3-bet the ace 10.
Mhm.
So there we go.
Mhm.
So
I
he's
like it.
mostly a flat. I would assume he's gonna flat here. This is our fish, right?
It is, you're right, it is. Yep, let's take a look at real quick the pre-flop ranges. You said we were 8-handed, I think you said, right? Let's see where
Yeah.
10-9 is. Yep, just those little slivers, 10%, 8%.
Wow.
Good enough for me.
Wow.
Slightly over.
Scotty, you're off
overvaluing
by
Scotty.
50%.
Well, I was wrong.
10-9
Um,
suited equals ace-ace.
So is it hijack, right? Did it open the queen jack?
Yep. Yep. Queen jack and the hijack is pure. And ace 10 in the big blind is mostly calling with a little bit of 3-betting. Notice ace 10 through ace queen. And most of the offsuit broadways are in the calling range with some folding of these trashier versions. So good call.
Yeah, so this is a highly favorable flop for the position. I think we might get some big bets here. I think we might get some B75s, although there is a straight available, so maybe not. I think B50 would be very common here.
Solver's mostly betting small here in possession, is it not?
I think this board against big blind does get some bigger bets.
Okay. Okay.
I could
I
be
bet
wrong.
small here myself.
So he checks, which I think is fine. 4. Let's see what our 10 does. So he's gonna call this, I assume.
Oh, in position check flop. My mistake. Okay. Sorry.
And what does, so 10 just made an error, cause just put it, but maybe it's thinking it can bluff now because it's got the ace. So it'd be interesting if he now B150 to B100 because he's blocking the nut flush.
Which player? Because ace 10 checked.
On turn, right? No, on turn,
Yes,
I thought
they-
he bet.
He did bet.
Sorry, I meant the river he checked.
Oh, yeah, so I wonder if I think he gets to bluff a little bit here, because he's blocking the nut flush.
Yeah, but
And
He
yeah,
has showdown value.
so
Yeah.
now, it was a question. So now I think in position just checks back.
I think you have to go for value here. I think you have to go like
Maybe.
60% pot or so, 55% pot for
I think you
value.
want to block the flush. So the big
Yeah,
blind should
maybe.
have more shitty flushes in its range.
I'm not worried about a flush so much after this turn check back. Just this is very heavily weighted towards 10x, 10x and some queen X, which you're going to be beating all of that queen X. So I'd
So-
very much like a kind of squeezing for
Check.
some value.
So let's see. No, yeah, we do get big bets, but not that much. Mostly it's small bet.
Medium size, it would be the biggest bet we get here.
Sorry, B50 on that.
50. Yeah, B50.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it.
What's he supposed to do with his combo? Out of curiosity. Mostly checking.
What do we got? Queen Jack. Mostly checking. Diamond Club.
Yeah, he mixes from small sizing. He mixes from everywhere.
I used to check behind here at
Would you
100%
mind going-
frequency, but
Would you mind going back one? Let's see what the range.
I've started recognizing these are a lot of
range
spots that you can
comparison
get
is on this
pretty good
board.
value from.
I just
Thanks,
saw
Mike.
something really unusual in that. Giving you the spade made you check more often. I would think giving you the spade would allow you to bet more blocking the flush, but it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
you're right.
weird.
So I was right that we've got a big equity advantage, but I think there's kind of a heuristic that if we have this big an equity advantage, we bet often and small.
Hmm.
I'm an idiot. It's the heart we were looking for. We needed to have the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll over the queen jack again on the river. If you have the
Okay.
heart, you could bet more. So that's what it's gonna be.
Blair, are you good with this chart
Okay.
here?
Yes, thank you.
Queen jack off, the heart. It's not a huge difference. It's
So
marginal.
we are betting
Yeah.
a little bit more than 50% here.
Well, it's a 20% difference. That's not negligible. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like really easy for a queen jack to check behind there, but I mean, like realistically, villain has just so much 10x here, and he's going to be calling medium-ish sized bets. I think you have to
So
go
we-
for value with the
So we know
queen.
this is an equity shifting card because all of a sudden the big blind wakes up with donks. Which I assume are driven by his flush draws.
He only does it with the ace of hearts, right? Yeah. So yeah, must.
What if we look at like breakdown real quick? Might be able to see where this is. Yeah, so he's got like the top of range and then that middle range is probably just like his flush draws, right? Would be my guess. So if we look at flush draw nuts and flush draw, he's betting a lot. So all his flush draw, that's a combo, that's a straight. Flush draw nuts,
This is just flush draw.
or, I'm sorry, flush draw. Yeah, so the very bottom of his flush draws wants to drive folds, yeah. Is what I see. The very top, which are like pair plus or combo draws, really.
What are those combos in the middle with
No,
the
those were,
lot
no,
of that
those were
purple
made
betting?
hands. At the top, those were made hands.
Oh, yeah, you're
Those,
right.
those were
are
jack
straights.
nine straights that were also, and kings. You had some kings that are all. that are
Yeah,
flushes
yeah.
now.
So he's checking those kings, but he's straights are betting. Yeah, you're right. And the very bottom, he's evening that with the very bottom.
But notice how big these bets are. These are B175s, B250s,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them. I mean, not all of them, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of those really big overbets.
Yeah.
And these are on the turn, not on the river.
Yep, turn.
Yeah, these are turn donks. I guess they're not donks, turn probes, I guess.
This is the same heuristic, check, and the board texture didn't change. So when you're out of position, you get some big bets.
Cool. So he gets to go after it.
And he did bet, right? Didn't he
He
throw
did.
out something?
Is
I'm not-
that, sorry, is
Half
that
pot.
second flush draw coming in on the turn not considered? Like-
It doesn't change value hands that you
Okay,
make.
okay, that's what I
So-
was gonna ask. That
So
makes
the
sense.
the theory is you're big blind and you check your range. You're gonna have a bunch of value hands that you wanted to have bet that checked. And when those value hands don't change, they get to bet large.
Okay, understood.
Can you roll over the ace ten off? He's got betting with just, yeah. That's interesting. He wants to bet the 10 of hearts, not the ace of hearts. I would think the ace of hearts more. Okay,
Yeah,
I guess he wants to
that-
drive
yep.
folds more with the ace of hearts. He doesn't want to get raised.
And that combo likes to just mostly check too.
So what are our queens doing? So our queens are like, it's very, looks like it's very, kicker driven, like our worst queens are out. But our straight draws as well as our queens stay. So now I'm curious now, if we look at his ace. Now he's bluffing he's bluffing the 10 of hearts. Oh, he never plays ace of hearts this way. What if you go to like ace 7 or ace 6?
Suited,
Yeah, well, those are flushes.
yeah.
What about ace queen? Yeah, I guess not. I guess he doesn't really bluff that's the second pair, his showdown. So he is bluffing a little bit with his third pair here, but he's not, and he's only doing it with he never gets here with the ace of hearts, but he does get here with the 10 of hearts. And it is at some frequency turning his 10 of hearts into a B60 bluff. Yeah, so this is obviously a bluff, not a value thing. Again,
Jack
yeah,
10 with the heart.
yeah. This is interesting. It's just
Yeah,
interesting
what
to
I
see
what I
that. Go ahead,
found
sorry.
interesting too, like I think you noticed this too, is like the 10 and the jack of hearts here, as opposed to a queen of hearts or an ace of hearts or a king of hearts. Well, king's top pair.
Yeah, I think queen is second pair, right? So that doesn't bluff. But the third pair is low enough down that it actually begins to bluff it.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, someone else can drive. I guess you have to finish this hand, right? So he checks, right? And this guy checks back. Is he supposed to check back this combo?
Yep.
So no, he does not bet this combo, so he correctly checked back. Can we go to like breakdown here and see where his betting threshold is? That might be interesting. So if we go to breakdown here, we'll see there'll be a betting threshold. Well, he's got bluffs. We can just ignore that. And then his betting threshold is like
A set.
set, yeah.
Okay.
Two
A
pair
little
aren't
bit
good
of
enough
two pair.
unless he's blocking a flush. And over pair, which would be, I assume aces. They're mixing. So really a set is the threshold. So you need to have a set to value bet here.
Look at the amount of checkbacks with aces there, even with the ace of hearts is amazing.
Yeah, agreed. That's the super wet board.
Yeah. ETO is crazy.
Wow. I learned something.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that,
I
Derek.
didn't suspect that.
Yeah, and King was betting the queen all the time. It's like, I'm not saying you can't against population, but boy.
Oh, I hear
GTO
ya.
very different. Yeah.
Maybe
Well, I
one
mean,
last
I'm
thing to look at.
I'm
Sorry,
still
go
going
ahead,
for
Ken.
that bet.
Maybe one last thing to look at real quick is, can we just go over what his, the very top of his checking back threshold is? So all these top pairs are king, queen, they're not blocking the flush. Okay, that's cool.
That's a very relevant point, actually.
So yeah, he's checking back these, unblocking the flush, king, queens.
Bet 0%.
Yeah, this is a very interesting hand because it's just such a wet board.
Yeah, and for the times that I do go for value on that river and I get check raised, you're just like, why? Why did I bet? I could have just checked
True.
to showdown.
That is
Because you have to fold.
a feeling of pain.
True.
Okay.
But I try not to let that drive passive decisions. So
Who's the next victim?
Anybody
I
want to
bet-
step up here?
I'll try it, but
Okay.
I don't have the I've never seen this program before.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
so
I was volunteering, but I was muted. You can go.
so
if you want,
is
Kevin.
that Derek who was asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek,
Yeah. So
Derek's
Derek, what
new.
we do is
You drive, Derek.
Okay.
yeah, this is, we'll just go through, you verbalize what you would do here, along, around the entire
Okay.
table. So,
Queen 3 folding, 10-6 folding, Jack King bet 3 big blinds. 5-4 fold, Queen 8. I don't like it. I'd probably fold it. Ace 7. Don't really like it. Fold. King 4. Dump it. Pocket 3s. If I think the other players play bad, I'm fine with playing small pairs. If I think that they will stack off to a bottom set. So small pairs, I'm like, if I think I can get equity from them because they'll play like if I think I'll win 71 big blinds from someone's stack with a small pair, then I'm fine playing small pairs in almost any position. King 2s, it's kind of crap, but I'd probably fold it. I don't know. You can call it. I guess I'm up on the fence on that one.
okay, good. Now that you've kind of gone around here, what we'll do is anyone that might disagree will kind of, or not disagree, or just make points about certain hands like that. Like, for example, I was noticing you were kind of hemming and hawing about Queen 8, maybe A7. Those are definitely going to be pure folds. And what we'll typically do is kind of look at these through the lens of a solver, right? And
Right.
then if you have a reason to deviate from GTO, you explain it and that sort of thing. But I think, and most people on this call would agree, both of these hands are just going to be pure folds at 100% frequency without ever calling. Threes, I think you had a pretty good explanation as to why to call and maybe let it go. King 2 is just a pure fold, even with the odds you're getting.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Just the one lesson, I think everything you said there, Derek, made sense. If you're in the King 2, if you're saying what you think he's going to do in the King 2, yeah, he might call looking at the pot odds. If you're in the King 2, that's an easy fold that you play the big blind even tighter when the caller is in front of you, not looser. Like you go, oh, my pot odds are now better. They are. Ignore your pot odds. Implied pot odds are everything.
Yep.
And the King 2 is just a dump. King 10 is a fold there. Offsuit.
Okay. I think the Queen 8, I was thinking of it because if I think that the people play awful, like I play 1-3 live and people can't even read their hand. So, you know what I mean? So like just playing, a red card and a black card when people can't even read their hand, you can almost justify anything. But yeah, against the solver, like Ace-7, you fold. But I think that if you think you have a big enough skill advantage, you can look down and, I have a black card. Okay, I'm playing this. Does that make sense?
No, I know where you're
It
coming
does.
from.
It does make sense, but I'll bet that a player that good will make even more money by by playing a little bit tighter than that. Still by
Right.
still having not just a skill advantage, but also a range advantage when possible. And the Queen
Yeah.
8 against that early, even against bad players, it's just a better fold. The next
Now,
hand's you're gonna have a better opportunity next hand.
Quick question to that point, because I was sort of making the same argument earlier. Does that hold more true in tournaments? Because that is largely where I'm making like my junkier exploits with
Well, I think-
is in tournaments.
Yeah,
Live tournaments players are even worse than in cash games, I think.
Okay.
in tournaments, you get to play looser than you do in cash games.
Okay. Sure.
One quick
makes sense.
question for the group here. So let's talk about stack size and set lining in the small blind here, right?
Right.
So I think this is a fold probably. At
Yeah,
this stack depth.
I'd agree with his
But-
stack as a fold.
But let's talk about where this becomes profitable with implied odds. Does this become profitable at 150 big blinds?
Well,
Does it become profitable
me-
at 200 big blinds? I think that there's a
Yeah.
implied odd stack depth at which these 3-3s are profitable to flat in the small.
well,
blind.
I'm usually playing 1-3 with $1,000 in front of me, right? And there'll usually be one lucky players with $1,000 in front of them, or like
Then those
more.
threes, then those
So-
threes become a much better call
So
Mhm.
at 300 big
If-
blinds deep. Those are good calls.
for can we look up 300 big blinds deep? And
No,
you play all pairs? That's what I wonder. I think you can.
I think we have 200.
200, yeah.
Okay, let's look at 200.
I mean, I will say like 70, 80 bigs, I can probably find the call there. If I'm down to 50 and
Mike.
folding,
Mike, if you change
Oh.
to pre-flop only, they have a 300 big blind chart.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, nice.
6 max though. Are we outside of the low jack?
We are, but we'll put him,
We're in
in
the
the
small-
low jack just to look at it, just for fun.
Okay,
Try
yeah.
the 9 max. Does that have 300 still?
No,
No,
they don't
9 max
have
doesn't
any.
have-
Doesn't
No,
have
I'm
any.
looking at it
pre-flop
now. Okay.
only.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Is it just too computationally intensive, or yeah, let's look at 300. Because like if you play live, there's 1, 2, or 1, 3. You can often get like 300, 400, 500 big blinds.
sure. I've seen it. Little bit of live
I
experience
would
I
just-
have. I've
the
seen
one
it.
thing I would caution about how we think about this is if we are thinking about this as an exploit in like a 1-3 live game, the other thing to remember is that if you are assuming these people are kind of fishy, this early position open then becomes a lot stronger. So their range when they open like that isn't as weak as when they limp. Like, because the players that we're kind of hemming and hawing about, and then we're going to be able to exploit them, that person's opening range is probably going to be much stronger than the limp range that they have, and we have an early position open here. So I think that's another thing to kind of consider.
No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Look at,
Yeah.
That's logical.
look at this. It's how tight it is, even on the
Wow.
button. So the small blinds can be
Wow.
even tighter. Yeah, even at 300 big blinds. Just wait for a
So,
better spot. Not
so
you can't make any
300
money.
big blinds, you can't play 8s? Is that what it's the saying? 300 big blinds deep?
That's what
Well-
it's saying.
8 is usually some sort of anomaly based on the under the gun range. So against the solver, 8s aren't doing that well, but against population who doesn't have the same GTO range, ignore those anomalies.
Okay, but like I noticed that 2, 3s, 4s, 5, 6s, you're mainly folding them pre, and I thought would have thought that if you're 300 big blinds deep on the button, you can play that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
I'm
basically
I'm
surprised they're
knowing-
complete folds as well. That does
Yeah.
surprise me. I thought that you'd see
I-
some,
I thought we
a
were
little bit
gonna
more
call them too.
column.
Yeah, I was
And I
wrong.
think in
I-
practice, you're not the worst for calling them set mining occasionally against
Because-
certain players. Like,
Usually if I get a set at 1-3, I expect to win a stack. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, like, let's say someone raises pre-flop and I have 2s. I want him to have aces
Exactly.
because like I'm thinking post, like this doesn't apply to the solver, but people play post flop so horribly.
hmm
They'll call down with one pair if they started with aces.
Yeah.
I'll give them aces all day, so they can have the strongest range in the world. They raise to.
and when you're confident in your post plot play against your opponents, I don't think it's the worst thing at all to
Yeah.
start including some
Yeah.
of those lower
We-
pairs. It's fine.
We
in my
haven't
opinion.
discovered that you can't do this against population. We've only discovered that this solver doesn't do it based on its calculations and its assumptions.
So
I
game
don't
theory
think it's a big, I
optimal.
don't think it's a big mistake.
So game theory optimal. You fold 4s, 3s, and 2s if you have 300 big blinds on the button.
Yeah, shocking, isn't it?
Okay,
That's also-
this is
Oh, wait, that's
exactly
a
what
small
I
blind.
did
Go
not
to the button.
expect.
No, that's small blind. Click on button. You still do it, but let's be on the button. Yep.
The
you
other
do.
day, I was playing and I won 500 big blinds off someone who couldn't fold aces pre. Or
Yeah.
8 aces post, you know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
went bet.
Yeah.
Over bet on the river, and he calls me with like a pair of aces.
Yep, we're agreeing with you. That is the reason to do it. It's exactly what you're saying. I don't think we've learned not to do it. We've learned that the solver doesn't do it.
So if you're playing against a game theory optimal bot, you don't do it. But
Don't do it.
against the population that I play against, it's like, oh, give him aces and I'll take twos. I'll take that all day. Because I was sure he was
So let's-
strong.
Great. So let's take a look at what happens on this one. I think that the three is just I think that the flush draw is just going to bet and he loses, but let's see. Move it forward.
Even in the big blind, look at their folding deuces and some threes at frequency.
Wow.
You
Well-
do see that pretty consistently in tournament charts too. It actually does get tight, like 100 to 150. The 150 chart will quite often be tighter than the 100 chart.
I
Wow.
think something that oh, excuse me, that might be important in that thing, solver wise, to get a stack all in with 300 big blinds, they're not even going to think about doing that with one pair.
Yeah.
They're going to need top set straights or higher. So then
Yeah.
when you're thinking about implied odds for pocket twos, in the solver world, it's not as good as it would be because your opponent in a solver is not going to commit with pair of aces with 300 big blinds.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, but that's not the world that I live in. Is what I'm saying, yeah.
And also when you're this deep, there's also reverse implied odds you have to consider.
Oh, set over
Everyone-
setting?
Well, they're set over set, but you can flop a set and then lose to a straight.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can flop a set and lose to a flush too.
Yeah.
So say you start piling money, you flop the flush, start piling money, or flop the set, start piling money in, and the flush hits on the river.
Where do you play,
Hmm.
Derek? What state
I
or
play
province?
in Fallsview, Ontario.
Oh, okay. I'm in Ontario too. I'm up in North Bay. I'll hit Rama
Oh.
sometimes.
So you hit Rama?
Occasionally. Very
What's
rarely.
what's the rake like at Rama?
Disgusting. Like 15%. It's unbelievable.
15%? Oh
Yeah, it's-
God, I don't
it's-
think I could beat 15%.
It's 15% capped up to I think $200 or something like.
Holy
it's,
fuck!
it's something ridiculous though. It's
So they're
unbelievable.
taking 30 out of the pot at $200?
It's something insane like that. Yes,
Well,
This is your
I
last
can't
hand, and then
beat
you
that.
gotta.
it might be
Move on,
capped at 15. I don't know, but it's something like that. It's like 15 capped up to a certain amount.
Okay, there's no way I'm playing there.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
I can't beat that.
I'm like 6 hours away from Fallsview though, so that's a bit of a trek for me.
Oh, okay, well, it's session time of 7 per half hour.
Yeah, no, what they do is
So it's
great.
basically nothing compared to
Yeah.
what you're playing. They're probably taking like, I don't know, 300, 400 off the table.
Oh, are you playing
why I'm
session
on-
time?
Online player.
Yeah.
What's that?
What kind of rakes do you guys play usually? You guys play online mainly?
Yeah, casino. I put online. It's like 5% up until like $5. The casino I play at is 10% with a max of $7.
$7 is not too bad.
Yeah,
It's pretty high,
bit
but
better.
not too bad. Not 15 or 20 is ridiculous.
Hey guys, so Mike has to go, but Scotty kindly has offered to leave the room open if we want to
Okay.
continue.
Great.
Scotty also has to depart, so do
Cool.
we want to do some marked hands? I'm happy to do some marked hands if people want to stick around.
Sure, I'll stick around.
Call it, that's fine too.
I'm good with whatever you
Dutton wants
guys
to
want to
play
do.
Do some trainer stuff.
I'd rather run
Yeah.
trainer spots and like just kind of look at how people are playing in certain spots, but I don't care.
Yeah, well, typically on Mondays we don't do trainer work, but we do that on Tuesdays.
I mean, it's fine. I mean,
I mean,
we're
it-
flexible, right?
Yeah, it's open to whatever we want. If you like trainer work, start coming on Tuesday because we do at least an hour of trainer work every Tuesday.
What time?
12:15 Eastern.
12:15 Eastern on Tuesdays.
Yes.
So what time does this group normally meet?
Mondays 2:15 Eastern, Tuesdays at 12:15 Eastern.
2:15 2:15 Monday, 12:15 Tuesdays.
Okay, guys, so so who do we have left? We got 7 people. What do you guys want to do some marked hands or you want to do some trainer work?
Flip a coin, bro, whatever.
Flip a
Leave the
coin.
executive decision to you guys. I got a big busy day of cooking bacon and napping once this is over, so.
Now, flip a coin. All right, heads, we trainer, and then tails, we do. All right, why don't we do a couple marked hands, then we'll do the trainer.
Sweet,
Um,
that makes it easy.
So I learned that small pairs you can't even play on the button 300 big blinds deep. So I probably have to stop doing that if I play against Phil Ivey.
Yeah, what I
And
learned going from
true.
tournaments to cash is I need to tighten up, play way tighter than I think. And that will probably always serve me well, playing tighter
Well,
than I think.
If your players play so bad, then I think it's a mistake to play game theory optimal, certainly.
Yeah, you do want to be maximally exploitive.
Yeah. So
does anybody
I'll
else
probably-
have any hands or should we just run through this one and then do the trainer? I don't remember what happened to this hand.
I have a couple, but they're not the easiest to access. I mean, they're easy enough if I share my screen, but just
Yeah, I
run what you
haven't
got
pulled
here,
any.
Larry.
Okay, why don't we just run through this one real quick and then we'll do the trainer. All right. So I ISO. Nothing to
Is
see
that
here.
is that a limp or a post? Just out of curiosity.
This is a limp.
Okay.
So we ISO the broken stack. Nice flop. I think he donks in this hand. No, he checks. So I'm betting here. Now he gets, this is really not the greatest flop for us in theory, but it is in practice. And we've got, I think betting here is okay. What do you guys think?
It doesn't hit
agree.
your range at all, but that doesn't matter. Like
I'm playing
Okay.
for stacks
what,
here.
what's in your range? Aces?
Yeah, I've got an
and
overpair
ace king
advantage,
and-
right? So,
Yep.
But
oh,
you
I
I
said
know
think
this hand now. So so his crazy limping range obviously is gonna have sevens in it, and it's gonna
Mhm.
have whatever else. It's gonna have 2 pair hands.
Aces.
He checks. We check back.
Yeah, check and realize
Mhm.
equity.
What are you guys doing?
Look them up.
Yep. I'm calling here.
Everybody calling?
I call.
no, I don't think so. I think you fold here. I don't think like. Do you beat value here?
Yeah, let's go through the questions. Do we beat value? No, this is a bluff
No.
catcher.
We're catching a bluff.
Okay, we're
Okay,
catching a bluff,
like
number one.
does this guy bluff with like we can lose? We could lose to an ace high bluff here. Or I'm sorry, we can't lose to an ace high bluff. Sorry, but like. I don't know what this guy.
I think when
I was
villain-
hesitant about bluff catching with a guy who has limp called, check called, and now decides to be aggressive. Like this guy's not got really the MO of being an aggressive player, and there's a 4-liner on board. I'm very much not liking life, and this is a big sizing.
Yeah, and
See-
also the other question is, are we blocking bluffs?
Are we blocking? Say that again, Larry.
Are we blocking bluffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're blocking bluffs here as well. And is this an overbluff spot? I am gonna say this is an overbluff spot, right? Where he's got a very wide range because he called an ISO.
Yep.
And, I went check on turn, so I think that this often goes into the,
I think because it goes
Lower
check
bluffs
on
line.
turn, villain should be taking this line like all of the time basically, and this sort of makes it a perfect bluff catcher candidate. What you have, like, yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of the time here, but when that turn is as played, villain out of position should be tossing out 100% pot like all of the time here. And you,
I guess the only question is, do we win more than 33% of the time?
I think it's about that. I think you
Yeah.
do. I think it's fine.
So here's a review. 5-7 called the ISO.
Yeah, of course.
Nice, nice. He just very
Which is
good.
about what we
price.
were expecting, which is kind of normal, but
Yeah,
Larry, did you like, flop, you bet half pot?
yeah.
Is that like just your standard there, or like, 'cause I was kind of thinking we want to go smaller here
So,
when we
I'm
bet.
taking this size from Jeremiah Williams.
Mhm.
So he doesn't stream anymore. But when he did, I mean, he would play nosebleeds. But when he had, so rarely he'd have a limper. But when he had a limper, this is his default sizing on turn, on
Mhm.
flop.
Okay, all right.
yeah, I
'Cause
tend to go
I'm-
around
I'm-
a third
I'm
myself.
just
but-
assuming like that this guy's probably got like he does. He has straights, two pairs, sets.
Yeah, I mean,
He has
he
just a lot of
very easily
connectivity
could
here.
have a, I mean, he's got a super wide range, right?
Yeah.
And we are blocking. Yeah, it's kind of a weird, I just kind of default to this in this
Mhm.
situation. Mostly
Same.
because this is what Jeremiah would do.
Yeah. No, okay, that's good.
But, I've never taken any training on how to play post flop in an ISO pot. I don't know if anybody had.
Yeah, no, I just think of this range as being, like, I almost think of this as like like we're against a big blind defend kind of situation where this guy's gonna have a very wide range. And he's
Yeah,
gonna have a
that's a good
lot
way to
of
look at it.
middling connected
Mhm.
cards that interact very well with this board.
At the
And
same
it's
time,
not-
though, he kind of has just as many combos that don't, to what you're saying.
Okay, but like, I mean, so we beat a lot of those combos, even if it checks down. Like,
Correct.
so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this guy's probably a fit or fold kind of guy. So I think, I think the sizing's fine, but I was just kind of curious, Larry. how your
Yeah,
thought process-
so, yeah, so this really just comes from kind of the exploitative line that Jeremiah Williams took against the very wide range of a limp caller,
Mhm.
which we see here, and he just luck boxed it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he luck boxed it in so many ways.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is, I think that a fold is makes good sense here against a four liner. I think
I
that,
don't-
I think that I should have folded this.
Yeah, I don't think,
Probably.
I don't know. I just don't think that there's enough bluffs.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
or blocking bluffs too. That's a thing.
Mhm.
But it is an overbluff line, so you gotta take that into
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so I've got this one set up, which is, I think, interesting. So we're in UTG
Mhm.
and we're gonna get flat. So this is gonna end up always being against button because there's no flats here and hijack got off. But this is a very tough. So from my experience in our games, we're gonna get a lot of flats in position. And I find them very tough to play.
Mhm.
So let's do this one. Sutton, you want to take a shot at this and I'll be your button clicker?
Sure, sure. So we're actually against cutoff here, huh?
Yeah, we're up against cutoff.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna assume cutoff's gonna have a pretty limited range here. We are 6 here. Okay. Yep. Okay. The 2 and the 4 are actually, I think, pretty good cards for us because not that they interact with us, but they eliminate deuces and 4s pretty significantly from cutoff range. Cutoff shouldn't have them. So I think like the best interaction they're gonna have. I'm not even sure they're gonna have like ace. They're gonna have ace queen suited here. We block. So there's okay. So there's a little ace. Long story short, I'm gonna check here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I mean, yeah,
I think this is a high check board. I mean, I think maybe we get some bets because this 4 and 2 miss him so much.
yeah, but they don't hit us. We definitely have. I don't think it would be terrible to bet, but we also have like a fair amount of showdown, I think. I
Yeah,
don't
we've
know.
got some showdown.
And we
I
have
think,
we have potential on future streets too.
yeah, I think this is mostly gonna be check.
Yeah, check range makes sense to me.
So
Oh,
not
it's
check
betting a
range.
lot in this. I think it's betting a lot because the queen hits us and the 4-2 miss them.
Right,
It's
we
kind of a
have,
more polar bet.
we have the range and the nut advantage here, which is kind of interesting. I think we can basically, like you can see, we can pretty much do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit tricky here.
I don't think you'll ever go too wrong by just checking that.
What are you
This is
doing
a
here?
very small bet.
Can we see how much he folds to continuation bets?
Yeah, we'll look at the solve after.
Okay. No, I mean like, do you have stats on the guy?
This,
Uh,
we're
okay,
playing
yeah, so
straight
I
against
should-
the machine here.
Yeah, we should give you a little background. So
Okay.
Jack, so this is GTO Wizard, which is solver tool.
Okay.
And so this, one of the tools within this package is that you can play against the solver. So this is essentially a trainer so that you play entirely GTO based poker against an opponent who's playing entirely GTO based poker.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're playing GTO bots here, basically.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
we're the human victim, and we're playing against the bot, which is playing essentially GTO. It's playing perfect GTO poker.
Okay.
So
So-
what if that's something small here? I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call, but I'm kind of wondering like what our bluffs look like here. And when we have backdoor flush, backdoor straight overcard, I wonder if that in this spot is sufficient to go with the raise here. I'm thinking that we would have check raises versus this small sizing.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
I think
call.
we'll
also,
All
have
that said, I'm gonna call.
yeah, King,
Same.
what are you saying?
Oh, I think he's spot on. I agree 100% with all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say a cheat code is that we got leads, we got C-bets. So we must have a range advantage here. So I think we're gonna get some check raises. But I think calling's fine. I think we're gonna have some calling too.
Yeah, perfect. Spot on. I agree with all of that.
6. We don't like that.
Yeah, we're gonna check here.
Check. And this is interesting.
Check, check.
So that was check 100% there.
For us, yeah.
On
the
turn,
6.
yeah. So I mean, it's unusual that you're gonna have a donk or a lead on the turn after it goes check, bet, call on the flop. It does happen, but it has to be a card that shifts equity to your range. This
Mhm.
card is
Such a
not one that's gonna do that.
Non-interacting card in every way. So
Like if a king came, we could bet it, I guess, eh?
I don't know about that. Because I think we
Yes.
would bet a lot of kings on this flop. We would be more inclined to bet a king on this flop than the ace because the king lacks showdown value. And Larry, correct me if I'm wrong there.
I think you're right.
And then, so we would be more inclined to bet the king. And I think that the same thing holds true for cutoff. Like if you're cutoff here and you have like, I don't know, king jack, I think you're very inclined to bet. And so the king becomes much better for you. And like if we have king jack and cutoff is bet flop, we probably do continue, but like, do we continue with king 10 or king 9 suited? Like, I don't know. I think we're less likely to have a king.
Hmm.
So I think the king is actually probably better for him. Whereas if I think if an ace hit the turn, I think that would be better for us in this spot.
So now you're here, so it went check, bet small, turn, check, check.
So can I make this guy, I don't think that we have a ton of showdown value. The problem is, can I get him to fold a hand like 7s through jacks? And unless I bet a Herculean amount here, I don't think I can. And I think I'm just gonna check here.
I think this is, go ahead, sorry, Joey.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think this is a check. And I think if the solver bets, we're supposed to call with ace high.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I think this is a check as well.
Your
In
check.
game, I know I'm betting 100% here after it goes check, check on turn. I'm
So there we
targeting
go.
exactly
It-
7s through 10s. You were.
It's interesting he
exact-
chose to bet this on flop. Maybe he's buying himself a. Do we want to move on or look at anything in solver here?
I mean, you
Uh,
could just look at, you could look at the range for the cutoff bet here on the flop.
Yeah, that's a good question. So range for the cutoff bet on the flop is here. Well, first thing is, what the hell is his range? It must be really super tight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sliver of hands, I would think. I
Um,
kind of wasn't,
he's gonna have like 12 combos.
Did
Yeah,
he
he's got
call?
33 combos. Got nothing. Oh, yeah, guys, this is an NL 500 because what I wanted to replicate is I wanted to replicate flats. Because at NL 50, there are no flats here. But
Okay.
we see so many flats in our games. I do at least. I assume you guys do as well.
Oh yeah,
What-
absolutely.
So-
What games do you guys play, by the way?
I'm
Um,
playing like NL 25 online, a lot of tournaments, a lot of
Sure.
Satis, a lot of NL 25.
Uh-huh.
So we want to see what his betting range is here, right?
Okay.
So what's his betting range? So he's. Yes, he's betting tons here with his under pairs. And I assume this is to generate auto folds. Cause he can't think that he has a lot of equity here.
well, and and a little bit of protection, I would think, with the eights, right? Like the small
Yeah,
bet. It's gonna make it kind of difficult for hands kind of like ours. Like, I don't
Yeah.
really love calling, but
Yeah, I'd be betting largely for protection purposes in that spot.
So he's betting. He's just betting across his entire range here when we checked off.
Okay.
And I think if we go across here against his super condensed range. He's got a little bit, he's in position, right? So his equity realization is higher. And his equity is higher. So I would assume that's it's driving his bet.
But when we have a betting range and we don't bet, like if we check and then go to hit, look at the range breakdown after we check,
Okay, check here, yeah.
yeah. Now, if we look at go back to the same chart, we we're looking at the ranges.
the breakdown.
think it's
or
range-
the range.
No, the ranges. I think it's range advantage good, yeah. After we check, he has a larger range advantage than he had before we checked.
Yeah, so this is driving it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Alright, should we move on to the next hand?
Sure.
Alright, next one for Sutton.
All right, I got one more and then I gotta have dinner.
Okay,
All right, we open the ace three, we get called by button, jack 10. I actually think the jack 10 is like really good for this button calling range in this spot. I'm gonna think that they have like ace 10 suited, king 10 suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited. And I think that they're also gonna have jacks and tens, and population is also gonna have fives. So I think this is a board where maybe we have a slightly better range, but we certainly don't have the nut advantage. I'm going to check here with this hand.
I like a check too.
yeah, you can do whatever. I think we're gonna find that check is always an option.
Oh, get me out of there. Done.
So when I'm using these, I see this a lot, which we don't see against population, which
No.
are these overbets driving folds. And I
Mhm.
think it's because solver needs to bet a lot bigger than we do to generate a fold here.
Sure.
We're out.
Also, when you're out of position, you're gonna be doing a lot of checking. But the further away the call is, like if you open an early position and get called on the button, you're gonna have more betting than you would have if you opened the cutoff and got called on the button.
Okay. Will those bets be more polar in sizing?
Well, that would depend on the board.
Okay.
But the thing, like cutoff versus a button range is going to be closer in equity. But then under the gun range, which is tighter, will have a larger equity advantage as it goes around the table and the call gets later in position.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep. for sure.
All right, I'd
That's
love to
what's
stay, guys, but I gotta jump. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, no
Alright.
worries,
See ya,
son.
man.
Say something.
Bye.
So every position around the board, their range gets a bit wider for their calls.
All right, I'm gonna take this one because it's fun. I think we're pretty deep. I think we get to do anything in situation. If you looked at our equity here, it's probably in the high 80s.
Hmm.
So we can do whatever we want. I'm gonna start with the bet though. Now we mostly trap.
I'm mostly betting.
Top set, we mostly trap. When there's a check bet option, top set, we usually slow play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is interesting. So we got a call. I bet we get some check traps here. I'm gonna use the stop and go strat here. He likes it. So we wanna do some insanity. We don't get it. He's got a capped range now. The flush came in. I don't know. Does he ever play 10 jack like this? He probably bets it. If he played 10 jack this way, although he probably only can call 10 jack spades. I still think we've got top of range here. I think we bet. I'm gonna go B60.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
We get call our queen. Alright. Who's still out there? Who wants to do another one?
I'll do one.
Alright, sure. Alright, you got top pair against button.
Betting it.
What size are you gonna need? You got it down here. You can choose 33%, 50%.
75.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I like about a third myself. I am betting though, usually.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I will have some checks.
So I think generally what happens in this situation, this is kind of a general rule of thumb for the spot, is that when we're out of position and we're this deep, solver is going to sometimes use smaller sizings. Could be wrong. This could be a totally appropriate board to be 75. But I think generally, in theory, your bets are smaller. Now, we have to take this with a grain of salt too, Jack, right? I mean, this is like what the solver's doing. It's not always the best choice against population, but it does give us a theoretical groundwork from which to build a game and a strategy. So
Under the gun versus button is also different on king XX flops, where we're gonna bet a lot of the range.
yeah, it's a good
So
point.
when you're betting frequent, usually go a bit smaller.
Okay. So frequent and small bets on King XX.
With under the gun versus the button, yes. Because in there, if you compare the two ranges,
Our range is
What?
much stronger.
the button is missing a lot of his, almost all of his good kings.
He doesn't have King. We could, is what you're saying.
He doesn't have ace king. He doesn't have king king. He doesn't have king queen. He doesn't have king jack suited. Because those hands three bet a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
on
this
boards with a king-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, boards with a king versus the button. Under the gun versus the button. He has troubles defending it. So we
Right.
get a lot more often than the typical out of position boards would have us do.
So we're not gonna break solver here, so we can use this sizing. And you get a call, that's interesting. So he just called it B75. That's a pretty, so you filtered his range pretty significantly.
Right. So now he has a much stronger range.
Correct. That's a highly filtering sizing. So what do you wanna do on turn?
I play against a player pool where I just keep betting until they raise me and then I
Well-
fold.
Well,
So,
we're
but,
playing
but I don't
against,
play against solvers, so it's completely different from what I usually play.
we're playing against the one player who's better than Phil Ivins here.
Exactly. So this is like quite outside my wheelhouse. So I know his range is much stronger now.
I would say his range is
Well-
pretty strong.
What?
Yeah, I would say his range is pretty strong.
So I guess like you could check here.
All right, we can do that.
I like check.
Same.
He bets.
I think maybe 25% of the chance time we have the best hand or we have a draw to the best hand, so I'd call a small bet here.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna fold
I-
top pair to the side.
I think we have more than 20, like, we're better more than 25% of the
Yeah.
time.
Kind of a shitty run out. What do you want to do here?
Second pair got in there, third pair got in there. We have a bluff catcher. We're checking.
I
Can't
was
beat
looking,
second pair, can't beat third pair.
I was looking at the block bet too.
Yeah, 10%. That's what I like, but
So I wonder if we're block betting because this is an equity shifting card. Right, like, I guess we have eights that we play this way. Because we're essentially repping an 8 when we block bet. Interesting.
gives it up.
So he called this with his gut shot.
Yep.
Alright, wanna do one more?
Yep.
So this is the very bottom of your RFI range, in theory.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do you mean by that?
So in theory, queen ten off is the very bottom of your raise first hand. This is the worst
So,
hand that you're
This
gonna
is the
open.
worst hand you can play.
This is the worst hand you can open in theory.
Okay. I guess we're betting a queen.
Okay, what size do you wanna use?
Hmm. 50%?
Okay. And what do you guys think?
I like mix between betting a third and checking, sort of like the last hand.
So, let's think about range versus range. So his range, well, it's nice for blocking the continues. Well, not really, because it's queen. That's not true. Ignore that. We are blocking. We are blocking that. Jack
We kind of are
10.
blocking some of his
kinda
stronger
nice.
continues. His jack, his queen jack,
Uh,
queen nine suited, etc.
I think so. I think that the betting here with the queen is going to be very driven by our quicker quality. And we'll look and solver, could be wrong. So I think that this is going to check a lot because of the kicker. I think we have kicker problems here.
Yeah.
But I think, that's just
can
my
see it.
opinion. Let's see what solver does. So B50,
Yep.
yeah, so you're in there. It checks a lot, but
Yep.
B50 is an aggressive line. You get a call. What do you wanna do?
Well, that's a blank. So
There's a
that
blank.
made no change to the board state. We don't have many fives in our range. So he's probably got more fives than that. So I'm checking here.
Alright, check,
Yep.
well played.
And checking for pot control.
I think it's more likely to hit him.
This is interesting. So flush comes in, but you got top pair. What do
Yep.
you reckon?
Top pair shit kicker. Bart Hansen would say bet small and then fold to a raise, but
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I like a check call, but it's effectively kind of the same thing, more or less.
What do you reckon, Derek?
like I say, usually I play against horrible players, so I would if I was, but I'm playing against Phil Ivey, so you probably won't fall for that shit. Usually I would bet small and then fold to a raise, but I think checking is fine too.
No, it's only betting small here.
Oh, it's only betting small.
Top pair with a weak kicker. Once the flush hit, just goes block or bet.
Okay.
I got 10 more minutes and I gotta go. Anybody else want to take one?
I'll try one.
Alright,
We'll zoom through it.
alright, Joey, what do you reckon?
I think I would bet with this one. Paired board, maybe a little, bet 33. Does check a lot.
I like a check raise on that board.
So I think of this, when this card comes, I think if it's a bad card. What do you guys think?
No, it's maybe worst card on the deck. It's
not
horrible.
great.
I'm gonna check.
I'm checking too.
I agree with the straight hitting. It's better for the button and our range.
Yep, they got a lot more of that shit.
Oh, but they still go small.
Oh, they bet small.
Interesting. We see this sometimes.
Yeah.
Why are you betting small here?
It's kind of a funky line.
So it
Yeah.
went check, check.
No, we bet flop, right?
Yeah,
Flop
Bet
and
flop.
then check turn.
Check turn.
I'm wondering if we get any over bets here.
Paired board, 4-liner.
I wanna bluff, but I feel 60% is not enough, but I don't know if you go over bet. Let's try it. Bet 12.
I don't like that. I'm
Let's see
checking
where our
to
bluffs are
net
coming
this
from.
one.
Let's do the reveal. What's you got?
See, this might
I'm
be
ch-
more of a population thing. But whenever like a 4-liner hits, I always wanna be the first one into the pot.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially if it works.
Same thing when there's 4 to a flush on the board.
Yeah,
Alright, so here's the river. Here is filter,
oh,
trash hands.
all of our bets are smaller.
Yeah, we don't have any big bets here.
Just 60% didn't seem like enough. To get the job done.
No. Because if I'm button, I'm looking up any made hand, even ace highs there after it goes check, check on turn. That's sort of a perfect spot for me to bluff catch.
What stands out to me is that, we're not bluffing our ace high, right? We're just gonna hope it has showdown.
Yeah, ace high, I would check.
And then. Good, keep it consistent here. Trash hands. So what are the qualities that allow us to bet? The question I would have is, do we get to bet our busted FDs? So we never get here king, queen.
What
I just
did
think it's
we
very
have?
hard to make a credible bluff on this river after checking turn.
You're right, but
Yep.
solver will do it.
No, the 10. Well, it makes a 4-liner, so it doesn't improve our range, really.
I guess a 9 or a 5 would be probably scarier. So I don't know.
What king combo did we have? Cause it looks like it's betting a lot of the kings. But our single king jack,
Jack spade.
Yeah, it doesn't like the king jack, cause I would guess it's just blocking.
Or
Looks-
that's the offsuit. There we are.
Yeah, it's blocking,
the
it's blocking the
spades
flush
doesn't,
draw.
the spades does not like to bet.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
guess this is a situation where it's got so many potential bluffs on this line. Of combos that get to the river here. That it can discard the busted flush draws.
Every other king jack does bet except for the flush draw.
And instead it can,
Yeah, true.
it can pull its bluffs from. Non-FD blocking hands.
That makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, King, you wanna do one and we'll call it?
Sure, man.
Alright, cool.
Okay, under the gun, SRP, I'm checking.
Yeah, so when I
Checking.
look at this, I mean, I don't think we have a range advantage here.
No, no. I will do like very low frequency betting with like tens, jacks, largely for protection, but I'm checking this flop the vast majority of the time. Yeah, that's about my frequency actually. I'm definitely calling one. I will take, okay, one sec. Is this? Yeah, I don't think I can really justify a check raise here because check raise get called. There's just so many non-interacting turns. You'll have to shut down. You're just torching money. Yeah, I call one.
Yeah, I
Most
think we
likely.
call with a spade. We've probably fold without, if I had to guess. Get a lot of check raise here.
Okay, I'm surprised. Well, okay.
So am I. I didn't expect it as well. It might be because,
This is check range.
we've got such a range advantage, UTG versus button. Not a range advantage, but we've got an uncapped range versus a capped range. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and when I take those check raise lines, that's what I'm repping.
Oh.
I'm repping a really strong overpair, and I did say checking range here.
Oh, I would have dunk bet this.
What's the reason
Oh.
for dunk betting?
The-
I'm curious.
The straight hitting. Whenever you're out of position and go like check, call, when a straight or a flush hits, you get dunk bets.
So this is enough of an equity shifting card. I would find it with I'd find a dunk with a spade.
I'm just not crazy about it with this combo, to be honest. I know the
Do we
theory
have-
holds,
Do we
but
really have 5-7 under the gun? Or 5-2 under the gun? I don't think we have 5-2 under the gun or 5-7 under the gun.
So we check, then he so I think
yeah,
that's
just
ended.
fold.
Okay.
Rather uneventful hand.
I'm dumping this.
Okay, so one thing we'll look at here is I'm curious if. So this must, so on turn, the argument, this is so here. We call. Ranges. We're the dog, right? This 4 comes. Face is straight. Yeah, look, so well, we call it the bet, that's part of it, but just the equity does shift us.
And where are those bets coming from? What portion of the range?
This is gonna be like the flush draw probably. Well, backdoor,
Those are without spades.
overcard, mostly overcards.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
King, queen is not in there, but there's enough others around it that
Yeah, I see that. I see that. The king jack.
So
the
I'm
king
curious
jack,
if when the flush completes, what happens now? So I thought maybe if we're gonna donk, where are our donks coming from now?
I mean, the frequency didn't really change. It changed to a slightly more polar strategy, but like very negligible change.
So we do get, so if we get to dunk half the time here, if we're holding a spade, right?
Mhm.
Which is kind of cool.
I mean, I'm probably not finding it in game, but I see it.
yeah, in game, start looking for a situation where you're out of position and you did check call on the flop and the board texture changes. Like some draw hit on the
Yep.
turn.
Yep.
And that's gonna be a trigger. Obviously, this thing we don't have tons of.
We don't have a lot of 5-7 here.
Yeah, we
but
don't have
yeah, I see what
tons
you're saying though. What
none.
you're saying makes perfect sense though. Yeah,
Like-
that's a good point.
Like if I think a 7 or 8 might have given, if the 4 spades was a 7 or 8, I think we get a bit more.
Yeah,
Okay.
5s here.
The other thing is,
5 here would be better, yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep it in mind. I am gonna look for these spots.
We have this spike right here. And this is exactly our combo, right?
Okay.
Around our
okay.
combo, all these, this spike of low equity donks. And then we balance these low equity donks at a high frequency with, it's all across our range, but we also get a little bit of donking with our completed flushes, but not much.
Sure.
Okay, guys, I gotta go.
Alright, well, thanks, Larry.
Well, thanks very
And
much.
thank you to you guys for commenting. and stuff.
Appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. This is great.
Absolutely.
I'll see everybody tomorrow.
Sounds
So
good.
Yeah,
guys.
see you
tomorrow-
tomorrow. Scotty,
Uh,
are you still on?
Yeah, 12:15
No.
tomorrow, Derek.
Scotty
Eastern
left it,
Standard Time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
yeah, Scotty left it on, but I think he's performing right now.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Alright, guys, talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks a
See
lot,
you
guys.
tomorrow.
Nice meeting you
Bye-bye.
guys. I learned a lot
too, man.
here.
See you tomorrow.
Take care. Bye bye.